Him and I were cutting it close here. We got a few delays, but you know what? I'm so glad you're here and you get to experience these fans because, Luke, how incredible is this so far?
Okay, it's been unbelievable. Like you said, I haven't been in town for very long, but I mean, you look at the fans here, okay, and they've been here for a while. The facilities are top notch. I believe there's a rum hut behind me that's absolutely humming, okay, and you can tell people are bought in. The amount of different jerseys here that have been bought and are worn right now, and I've seen a lot of Milt Steagles as well, so we got to shout out Milt. I'm excited to see this kind of atmosphere, to feel this kind of energy coming from this country in this league. Nothing gets me more juiced up, Kate. I'm ready to run through a wall myself right now.
We are all ready to run through walls. And by the way, great suit, by the way, right now, Luke Wilson. I know your suit didn't make it as well, so shout out to the tailors in Winnipeg for helping you out. You know what? Let's go over to some food now. And I know if you've been watching our shows on the road, we're trying different food from around Canada. And this is going to be my favorite one. This is the Wallaby Burger. It's got 6 patties in it. And Milt, you are back in Winnipeg where everyone loves you so much. You can't disappoint these fans. Milt, come on, fans. Milt. You got to really do it, though.
Let's go, baby. Take a bite. Man.
But Milt.
I want to live one more day.
Come on.
I want to be alive one more day.
What about the red zone sandwich? It looks super healthy as well. And you got some mac and cheese.
I'm going to help myself, Kate.
How about one French fry, Milt? One French fry. Yep, perfect.
He's doing it. He's doing it.
Was that the first French fry you've ever eaten in your life? We're proud of you, Milt. We're very, very proud. You know what? Speaking of food, Diedrich Mills, he's been feasting on the league so far this season.
Why not on that draw? Mills, big gain again. He's still chugging along.
Mills up the middle. Touchdown, Calgary. His 5th rushing touchdown of the season.
So individually, James Butler in BC leading the way with 474 yards. He's been fantastic. Diedrich Mills, though, in that 2 spot, just 4 yards shy of 400. From a team perspective, Calgary coming into week 7, averaging the most rushing yards per game with 130. The Bombers holding opponents to just 84.68. That is 3rd best in the CFL. You know what? Mill wouldn't eat the food, by the way. So we got Luke. Luke just ran over, and because the suit's not tight enough, I think you need to eat some more food.
No question.
How do you like it?
It's been a long day.
Have you eaten today? Because I haven't.
No.
No. How is it? You got, give a rating.
That's all for us.
Give it to him.
Give it to him. You know what? You will be. All these fans are watching you right now. I wish we could see them all. He should eat the food, right?
That's one of the most impressive burgers I've ever seen. Look at that thing.
Then try it. No one's trying it. Everyone's just looking at it.
That's got your name written all over it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I have my name. I don't see my name anywhere on it.
What's the food item named after you in this stadium? Because I know it's not the Rum Hut.
It's the green salad. It's green salad.
And no one's bought it. All right,
No.
It's the only thing that they haven't bought with Milt Steagle's name on this stadium so far. All right, you know what? Let's talk about the run game so far. And look, Diedrich Mills has been absolutely fantastic this season. And we know that Winnipeg's defense sometimes struggling, obviously, to catch up with that run. Milt, when you look at Diedrich Mills and what he's done, what do you expect from him tonight?
Big things. There's a reason why this team leads the league in big plays. And it starts with the running game. And that opens it up for Vernon Adams to throw the ball down the field. So they're going to keep feeding Diedrich Mills. He's on pace to have a career year, over 1,400 yards. And as long as he stays healthy, this team is going to be special. He runs downhill. I didn't realize how big he was until you run up on him. So as a DB, as a smaller linebacker, you don't want to continue tackling this man because that's not a smart business decision. So this team is going to go as far as Diedrich Mills can carry him. And as long as he's healthy, he's going to carry him pretty far.
I think this Winnipeg front 7 still thinks, even after what we've seen from this Calgary offensive line has been excellent, they still think they have an advantage against this Calgary front. So that's going to be key to me because coming into the season, that was a weakness for Calgary. Their offensive line, we had a whole lot of questions about their O-line. They've been excellent, but I think that the Bombers, well, talking to some of these Bombers, they still feel like they have an advantage over this Calgary O-line. Let's see if they can open up holes. If they open up some holes for Diedrich and have that balanced offense, with VA, with the passing, what they've been doing, I think they can win this. That would be the key for them winning this game. DJ running the ball.
Well, DJ is one of the other guys that has a chip on his shoulder. He came from Ottawa, and now he's here. He's found at home.
Every player can't have a chip on their shoulder.
Oh, he does. I'll tell you that.
So
he does.
funny.
But one of the things about Dedrick Mills is the fact that because he is so consistent, when you watch the film, he has the ability to allow defenders to focus on him. And when he does that, like you talk about, Milt, the offense has to focus now on him, and he's able to get out the pocket. Their play-action game now is extremely effective because Dedrick Mills has been so.
You know what? I got a chip on my shoulder.
Do you really?
Yeah, you only left Milt with 15 seconds last night on one of the panel hits.
That's the only chip I have on my shoulder.
KB.
That's so bad.
Hey,
That's so bad, Milt.
I feel like after that comment, Enoch's going to have a little chip on his shoulder about
I have to now.
Are you mad?
No, I'm not mad.
No, are you mad?
Why would I be mad?
I think he's mad.
We're in Winnipeg, Friday Night Football. Come on.
All right, let's get over to Brett Dorn standing by with Dedrick Mills' chip.
Well, the last time these two teams met, you rushed for over 90 yards, and including a touchdown. How can you do that out here again tonight?
Just continue to come with my game, get behind my O-line, and, trust my quarterback and the coaches to call the plays that we need and get down the field and get in the end zone again.
Well, you've already surpassed your career high in touchdowns this season. We're only in week 7. How do you explain the success?
Just staying focused, man, and believing in myself, believing in my teammates, and just believing in everybody around me and having everybody around me believe in me, just going out and play the game that I know how to play.
Well, something in your career you haven't done yet, though, is win here in Winnipeg. What's going to be key for your team tonight?
Just play our game, stay focused, don't worry about us, and, just worry about how we play the game and just go out there and play and execute every play.
Thanks so much, Dedrick. Have a great game.
Season also coming into this week, they led the CFL with over 32-minute time of possession per game. As promised, here is Britt with Nick Dembski.
Well, Nick, you've had a pair of touchdowns in both home games so far this season. What is it about playing here that just elevates your play so much?
It's the crowd. It's the energy over here. They bring it every time, so we just got to show it for them.
Well, tough news, no Dalton Schoen in the lineup, but how did this team rally this week in his absence?
Yeah, you know what? I love Dalton. So it sucks without him out here, but it's a next man up type mentality over here. So we just got to make sure everybody's ready to play when their number's called.
Well, I know you're coming off a bye week, but before that you faced this very team. Unfortunately, didn't come out with the win, but what did you learn from that one you feel like you can take into tonight?
Yeah, Calgary's a good team. I think we lost our standard a little bit. They came out, they gave us a beating. So it's all about how you bounce back from it. It's a long season. We still got 2 more games against them, so we just got to play our standard tonight.
Thanks so much, Nick.
Thank you.
I actually think he does have a chip on his shoulder. All right, time for anytime touchdown picks. Let us start with you, Milt Stegall.
3 reasons why I'm going with Nick Dembski. Number 1, Kate picks.
This is ridiculous. You can't do this every time.
Same pick as Kate, I win. Britt also mentioned 2 home games, 2 touchdowns. And third and most important, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder.
I'm not laughing, Enoch. I'm not laughing. I'm going Chris Trevler. I think the Bombers get down into that red zone. There's no better short yardage quarterback than Strevy. Had a little chat with him before the game. He has got to be one of my favorite guys in this league. I'm going with Strevy. By the way, FanDuel, I love you, but these quarterback numbers and these touchdown markets are really tough. So please, ladies and gentlemen, I work for you guys first. Public, tread lightly on these ones. They're really hard to win.
He might have the biggest chip on his shoulder on the field too, Davis. But I'm going to go with Damian Alford. First overall pick. For him to get a touchdown tonight.
Are you picking him because you were also a first overall pick?
No, I'm picking him because I think he's going to have a big game, Kate.
Hey, we have a quick sec, Kate? Quick sec?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, you're taking shots at Enoch, and it's not really fair, but I will say this. I agree, Milt, that the best fan base in the CFL, and I'm going to say this right now, is definitely the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you know who has no chips? Milt. 0 championships.
Wow.
He played here for 22 years. He played here for 22
You can't
years.
say that.
I'm not laughing.
Listen,
I'm not laughing.
Still the love that they give him after having no chips on his shoulders. They still give him that love. Winnipeg, you guys are the best.
I'm not laughing at that one,
All right, let's get to the recap board because I am not laughing at that joke either. But you know what, Milt Stegall? I am never putting my pick in the group text ever again because this is just ridiculous. You can't just take my pick each and every time, but I really do think that Nick Dembski is going to score tonight because he has 75 straight games with a reception. I think this one's going for a TD. Strevler and Damian Elford. Obviously, you see our 90s glasses back on, and I have a little 90s trivia. Is everyone ready for this?
Let's do it.
Do it.
All right, Milt, I'm going to start with you. There is one player playing tonight who wears number 90. Who is it? He doesn't know. Davis? Enoch?
Miles Brown.
Wow. Ding, 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 ding. Enoch's got
That's
one.
not 90s trip.
Okay, ready? In 1990, let's get some 90s trivia then. What was the #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100? It was a rap song.
Can't Touch This by MC Hammer.
No. That was a good guess, though.
I was 1 year old.
Ice Baby, Vanilla Ice.
Milt, you're not allowed to answer this question. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give one before this. What stuffed animal debuted in 1993 and has become collector's items?
All right.
Some type of bear.
Oh, well,
Some type of
they
bear.
make bears.
Oh.
They come with little tags. They make little tags. Okay, you know what? It's Beanie Babies. It doesn't matter. I have to get to the last one. This is for Davis and Enoch. In what year did Milt Stegall make his CFL debut with the Blue Bombers? Was it 1994, 1995, or 1996?
1995. 95.
6?
95.
How could you not know that, man? We talk about that all the time.
Come on, man.
I let you down.
You see who pays attention when you're talking, right, Mel?
I'm going to get a Stegall jersey right now. And you know what? They aren't going to let us drive the plane. Did you drive the plane? Milt, did you drive the plane?
Driving it all over the field. Sir.
I can't believe they let you do that. I'm getting into that for the 3-minute warning. Friday Night Football from Winnipeg, where the Bombers look to shake off their most recent loss to the Stampeders with a little revenge on home soil. An 8th straight sold-out crowd at Princess Auto Stadium, ready for a Western showdown as these fans hope to see their team slow down the red-hot Stampeders. And absolutely no surprise that there are so many 85 jerseys in the house, Milt Stegall.
Oh, it's my turn. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it. You wonder why, and I have 2 reasons. Both of these teams know how to run the ball, and both of these teams, they don't play bad football. They don't commit penalties. This will be the most efficient game so far this year.
The Bombers have been the class of the CFL for the last 5 years. The Calgary Stampeders are coming in here playing great football. Let's see if the Stamps can come in here and get a dub.
And you got to look out for the beginning of this game because this Calgary Stampeders team has had a lot of adversity the last couple of weeks, including the rescheduling of the last week's game. But this crowd is going to be in it tonight.
All right, let's get you to the field for the pregame ceremony.
And that our city's water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation. In this spirit, we commit to a path of reconciliation and moving forward in partnership with one another in all we do.
Fans, we want to welcome back Blue Bomber legend and a member of the TSN panel. Please show your support and help us welcome back and welcome home Milt Stegall.
Fans, please stand if you're able. Remove your hats for the singing of our national anthem, performed tonight by Beverly Wynn.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for
It is Friday Night Football from Winnipeg. Over 33,000 fans ready to party. Kickoff between the Bombers and the Stampeders with Rod Smith and Paul LaPolice is next. East.
Thank you, Cade. What a glorious night here in Winnipeg for an intriguing Friday night football showdown between the Blue Bombers at 3-1 and the 4-1 Calgary Stampeders. Winnipeg's only loss came in Calgary a couple of weeks ago, Lapo. Since then, the Stamps have handed the Saskatchewan Roughriders their first loss. Vernon Adams, one of the big reasons why this team is resurgent. Second leading passer in the CFL.
428 yards last week. Sixth time in his career he threw for 400-plus yards, 3 touchdowns. He's been spectacular this season, fitting very well into this offensive system. Zach Collaros has a bye week to think about. Last week, 2 weeks ago, with 2 interceptions, 2 pick sixes. Just got to get better rhythm from the offense. I think that's what they're looking for offensively in Winnipeg.
Mike O'Shea in his 11th season as the head coach in Winnipeg, longest run in franchise history, most wins in franchise history. And Dave Dickinson, well, he has his own impressive resume in Calgary. It's his 9th season, only missing the playoffs once. That was last year, and so far, quite the bounce back at 4-1, including, as mentioned, 2 weeks ago in the Stampede Bowl. And a big victory, a 21-point win over these Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They have won the toss, so the Bombers, the home side, in front of a capacity crowd here at Princess Auto Stadium, will take the football to get this started. And back for it, Trey Babel and Michael Chris Ike for the kickoff by Rene Paredes. Chapter 1, 2 weeks ago. Chapter 3 in this rivalry, 3 weeks from now, back at McMahon. This is Chapter 2. At the top of the West Division, the Calgary Stampeders, Friday Night Football underway in Winnipeg. As Babel comes up at the 20 and finds some room on the right. Trey Babel still on his feet, up near the 40 as the Stamps try to swat the ball away, but it is Zach Collaros' 13th season at Cincinnati, 17th all-time in passing yards, 51-16 as the starter in Winnipeg, Lapo.
Really looking forward to what the game plan looks like. Here's an interesting stat for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You've heard it today, 12-0 after a bye since 2021. So it's really good. You played the same opponent. You get a week off. You get to prep, figure out what Zach needs to do to get this offense on track.
His running back, Brady Oliveira, got back in the lineup last week, has the ball now, and running well to the right. And a good pickup on first down as he get up near the 49 of Winnipeg. A look at the rest of that starting offense for the Bombers.
Micah Vanderpool draws in this game, filling in for injury. Stanley Bryant, he's going to have to go against Clarence Hicks, who we'll talk about, talented player for defensively. Weefall, Clarence Weefall, he's done a spectacular job this season, making sure that he leads this team in big plays, and that's where you get touchdowns on the big plays. So Weefall, spectacular this season.
To 2nd and 1 with Chris Strebler on for short yardage. Extra alignment, big package in. Strebler excels at this sort of thing and gets it up across the 50 to move the sticks. A first down. Winnipeg as Collaros had come back on against this Calgary defense that has been great so far, Lapo.
Clarence Hicks, I just mentioned, monster of a game last week. 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. You talk about fast twitch in your defensive ends. He's got it. Derek Moncrief last week had a pick 6. Last 2 times these guys played, first in the CFL in takeaways. This defense, and let's talk about another guy who had a pick 6 2 weeks ago, Damon Webb from Ohio State, leading this defensive unit in the back end.
They lead the CFL in interceptions for touchdowns with 3. First and 10. Collaros with time and off to the left. That is caught. That is Joey Corcoran, one of their draft picks in 2025. Corcoran has the catch, just his second catch of this opening season for him, and that pickup for Winnipeg.
And this is what's going to happen in this football game. Calgary plays a lot of zone coverage. There's always weakness in a zone coverage. They're forcing you to make that throw to the wide side of the field. Zach recognizes it, gets the ball out to their draft pick from this season, Joey Corcoran, out of the University of New Hampshire.
I was going to say Lapo's home state. A Canadian kid went to New Hampshire. His second CFL catch, drafted in the 5th round in 2025, second and short. Claros in, handing off Oliveira again. That is a tough team to run against. We've seen at times the Calgary Stampeders, and not much there for Brady Oliveira. Looks like a 3rd and short will be coming up here for Winnipeg.
And you think about last week, CFL's leading rusher, Adrian Ouellette, was held to 9 yards on 6 carries. Big task again, Brady Oliveira in this offensive line, but really good push as they come inside to make that play. Miles Brown forces it, pushes it inside. You see Roberts there. Good push at the line of scrimmage. Defensive linemen want to create a new line of scrimmage to create these long yardage 3rd downs.
Strevler again, short yardage, right side, and it looks like he does have enough. Across the 50, late flags coming out as well. And that tackle of Chris Strevler, and what looks to be a 1st down for Winnipeg as Collaros heads back on.
This is all Chris Strevler. An off tackle wedge. What does that mean? You don't go right behind the center. You go a little bit wider where your big offensive tackles are. Looks like there's a little bit of a high tackle on his head and a face mask right there to add 15 more yards. Put the Bombers in field goal range.
Another look at Strevler, and coming in, it's Jacob Roberts, the weak side linebacker, over the top, but does get the face mask of Strevler. So tack on 15 more. Down to the 34 of Calgary. Opening drive, Winnipeg, and in good shape right now as this continues with a 1st down. Quickly off to Jared Stearns in his 1st year with the Bombers, and inside the 30, keeps those legs driving. It'll be another 2nd and short coming up here for Winnipeg. Stearns, who started his career with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 1st year in Winnipeg.
Amazing record for Zach Collaros since he's come to Winnipeg. 74 touchdowns, only 25 interceptions, completion percentage through the charts. This is a great time for Zach Collaros being an unbelievable organization, having an unbelievable Hall of Fame quarterback.
And on the 2nd down, Collaros stands in, under pressure, down he goes. A sack for the Calgary Stampeders, and it's Miles Brown who picks it up. First stack as a stamp for Brown, and that pushes the Bombers way back to the 37.5 for Calgary, and a field goal try coming up.
This is how you get pressure. If you watch, Hutchins comes inside trying to move the guard in that direction, and then Brown comes around. You call this a twist, and you'll see this happen. As he twists around, he goes behind the tackle, makes the play on the inside. So sometimes offensive linemen go get on the same path. That creates the twist for the sack.
Sergio Castillo, 10 for 11 on the season. This beyond the 45. Tucks in to the left. First possession, first points on the board off the foot of Sergio Castillo. So over to you, Vernon Adams, and a solid start with his new team, the Calgary Stampeders. A 4-1 start at the top of the West Division, trailing by 3. Princess Auto Stadium. Friday Night Football on TF. This is how Vernon Adams fared against the Rough Riders last week at Mosaic. 28-36 for 428. Did throw a couple of picks, but also 3 touchdown passes, Lapo.
With that win, he's 42-23 as a starter. But the rhythm of this offense is what makes it so difficult to go against. You heard the guys on the panel talk about it. Not only is he throwing the football, but this is a team that rushes for 135 yards a game. When you can run the football like that, your quarterback can pick his spots when he's taking his shot play.
His running back, Dietrich Mills, who had 85 yards rushing last week at Saskatchewan, throwing on first down. Low for Dominic Rhymes, and it hits the turf with Evan Holm there. So passing on the opening down, and it falls incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Chris Fortan's been solid football player. First round pick, 8th overall, 3rd straight start for him. Speaking of picks, 1st pick overall, Alfred has had 6 for 156 last week with a 26-yard average. Most by a rookie in 23 years, as you heard in the pregame show. Damian Alfred.
2nd and 10 now for VA. Stands in. Off to the left. It's caught. And a first down. He goes right back to Dominic Rhymes, one of the newcomers as well in this Calgary offense, and a big first down for Calgary.
Dominic Rhymes is the inside receiver. You're going to see him break out to the sideline. As he breaks out to the sideline, you have one in, one out. Bonds goes too far inside, thinking it's an inside dig. Easy read by Vernon. Put the ball on the outside.
Down to the 51 of Winnipeg. Quickly. It's something they did so well against Winnipeg 2 weeks ago. Deep balls, quick strikes. Here's Adams again, and off to the left, and another completion down to the sideline for Jalen Philpott. Also had a big game last week in Saskatchewan, 8 catches and 86 yards.
Yeah, 8th in the CFL in yardage. He's got 6 second down conversions. Nice, pretty picture on the sideline. Throw it to the sideline where only Jalen can catch it. It's a high ball. He gets great body. He has body awareness to put his foot in the ground. You call that toe tap, working the toe tap drill to keep the ball in bounds, put him in score zone.
Adams 2 for 3 in this opening drive, and handing off to Mills. Gets his first carry. It's a good one. Dietrich Mills powers his way down to the Winnipeg 20. And this Calgary offense means business so far in this one. Down 3, but threatening in scoring position now.
Watch Quincy Vaughn is going to add in. This is called an insert play where you have a fullback go in and insert on the linebacker, create that huge hole right there for Dietrich Mills to go up and inside. So the first-year player Quincy Vaughn sets up that block very well for this #1 ranked rushing offense.
It is down to the Winnipeg 21. Adams gets rid of it, has a receiver down, and a flag comes out. Tevin Jones with the catch, and being pushed out there by Dietrich Nichols, but it is a Calgary catch. That much deeper inside the 10, and a flag is out. Saw Adams took some time to get rid of the ball, and he also took a hit.
Roughing the passer, Winnipeg, number 99. Ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
As announced by the referee Justin McInnes on Cameron Lawson.
Cameron Lawson, you'll see right here from Queens with the hit late to the quarterback. Nice spin move when he goes. Canadian Football League doesn't want you to bring him to the ground late. Put your weight on him. Puts a penalty, puts the ball inside the 1-yard line, which is going to be a 90% chance of conversion right here.
So Bombers started Lapo with a field goal drive, and right back comes Calgary with the penalty, setting up 1st and goal at the Winnipeg 1. Quincy Vaughn in at quarterback. Keeps it, pushes, big body of Quincy Vaughn trying to break the plane of the end zone. Still no signal, and it's 2nd down coming up.
Once again, you see Quincy Vaughn, who is a fullback, a short yardage quarterback, does a lot of different things. He goes off tackle, but if you can see Shane Gauthier makes an amazing stop right there. He stops the momentum of the quarterback. Quarterback can't go any farther. Keeps the ball at the 1-yard line. We'll see where Calgary goes on this next play.
Stands under center, 2nd and goal. Vaughn again. Can they make it to the end zone? Calgary, Vaughn, touchdown. Stampeders answer right back, and a late flag coming out after this play was over. It's a little lack of discipline coming up here as the Stampeders do indeed get on the board, pending the point after.
Watch Quincy Vaughn here. We think he may get a penalty at the end of his play. Ball's in for a touchdown. A little bit late hit on Retta Cramdy here.
15-yard misconduct penalty against Calgary, number 19. Those 15 yards will be applied on the kickoff. Touchdown stands.
Huge penalties going to affect on the kickoff.
So a little conversation afterwards for the rookie Quincy Vaughn, drafted in the second round, 17th overall. He capped off the 7-play drive, 70 yards, gets his first CFL touchdown, but a little bittersweet as he takes the penalty afterwards, as Lapo says, that shove on Retta Cramdy trying to push his way through. So we do have a point after try. See if the Stamps can make it a 7-3 game with the veteran Rene Paredes. Puts it through. So a converted touchdown. And they'll have to kick off much further back. First, though, they do get the touchdown and a penalty afterwards. But more twists, more turns, more challenges. Don't miss an all-new The Amazing Race Canada. That is Tuesdays on CTV. Stream next day on Crave. Friday night at a sold-out Princess Auto Stadium, and the home side is now down after Vernon Adams and the Calgary Stampeders drove from their 40 after falling behind a field goal, capped off with a Quincy Vaughn short yardage touchdown. There's Michael Crisite back there. Help out with Trey Babel on the kick return, and it's a long way to go for Rene Paredes because of the roughing penalty to Quincy Vaughn. So kicking off at the Calgary 15. Good field position coming up here, one would assume, for the Bombers and Babel. Across the 45, 50. Babel getting a little help, getting a little push up across the midfield stripe and down in the Calgary zone for Zach Collaros to get this started. Great. Bomber fans have loved this since 2019. Easily the best team at home. Winnipeg with 43 wins in home field. Lapo, you were at the start of that in 2019.
Some of those, and same thing. Winnipeg 12-0 after a bye, Rod. And they've got an 8-game winning streak against the Calgary Stampeders. Goes all the way back to 2017. So for Calgary tonight, hey, we got to break a streak. Somehow, some way, we got to make sure that we turn out with a win. Either stop Winnipeg winning all these byes or get their first win in Winnipeg since 17.
8 straight losses by the Stamps here in Winnipeg. 7 of those 8 by a single score. They've been close. 7-3, Calgary leads. Winnipeg ball again. Back to Brady Oliveira as he takes his time and finds a gap and works his way through for about a 5-yard pickup. Second down coming up here for the Bombers.
Good second and medium position. Where the Bombers have struggled this season is second and long. What is long? 7 yards or plus. They're last in the Canadian Football League in being efficient on that down and distance. So they've got to make sure that they can be right where they're at. Second and medium right now. Open up more offense to them.
Oliveira is not yet the leading rusher in Winnipeg. That would be Matthew Peterson, who took his place when Oliveira went down very early in their first game. Missed a couple of games. Throwing now in second down and gets it off to Oliveira. Short pass. Tries to push his way through for a first, but not even close. Gets it back down around the original line of scrimmage. So third down coming up. And here comes Castillo onto the field again.
And this is what Calgary loves to talk about. We're going to play zone. We're going to drop everybody out, and then we're going to rally up and make the tackle. You see Johnson coming in from his corner spot, seeing the ball check down, makes the stop, get him off the field on 2nd and 5. So this Calgary defense continues to stand up.
This is a 57.5-yard try for Sergio Castillo. He's at a couple of 60 yards. Had one earlier, across the 45. This one is good. He's just about money from big yardage. Big one there for 57. Got a 1-point game now, first quarter in Winnipeg. 10-point game. Stamps offense back on the field. So another challenge for Winnipeg's defense. Let's say hello to Luke Wilson.
Rod, it was very interesting that first drive. You know, you come out here and obviously Stamps had something drawn up, and they were very, very similar play concepts, a little different. But if you look here, let's lock it in on what Winnipeg's defensive structure is. Their cornerback, number 24, is actually the low man, and the high man is the halfback Nichols. They like to call it cut coverage. In Bonds, the cornerback is jumping stuff, so they're basically getting him to bite underneath, and then they're throwing right underneath Nichols, the halfback. So there's your first play. We come back to, again, similar structure, different, similar play, a little bit different of the underneath route. I want you to watch Bonds here, jumps in, they go right behind him, and Nichols is that soft halfback. And once again here, you have a guy who gets a great rush here for Winnipeg, but Vernon Adams Jr. is like, you know what? I know what's going on over there. I know the coverage. I'm going there again. So once again, I think that Winnipeg will change his coverage up here.
And he drops the snap to start the second possession. Can't get a playoff. Luke, thank you for that, but just fell right in the lap of the Winnipeg defense there as they just pounced on the mistake by Adams and the Stampeders, second and long.
Some of these things can be attributed to this crowd, of sellout crowd, making some noise, making it more difficult for the offensive line. Chris Fortin and company. You can see this silent cadence being used by this offensive line. Basically, one of the guards is looking back at the quarterback, and he'll tell Vernon it's time to snap the ball. Snaps it to Fortin. Fortin then snaps it.
Really loud here at the stadium with the Stamps offense on, throwing again. It's caught. Philpott again up near the first down mark. So they go to work again. Another completion on that long second down after the loss. And it is another first down. The sticks move for the Calgary Stampeders.
Great protection up front to throw this ball all the way out onto the sideline. Gives you great opportunities. Throw it outside to Philpott when you have great protection like that. And they keep attacking the wide side of the field of this defense, because there's a lot of players on the inside near where the slots are. They keep pushing everybody out to the sideline to get the throw.
Back to the ground on first down, and not much there. A yard, maybe two. Tony Jones, the leading tackler for the Bombers, starting in the middle and getting the stop there on Diedrich Mills. Second down coming up.
Good pressure on the inside. What you got to do, put these guys in second and long, put them in second and 9. Play coverage. Keep an eye on Vernon's legs. Willie Jefferson trying to get the crowd going.
Yeah, it's happening too. Gets very loud here for Adams. That Calgary offense. Second down and 9 with time. Deep shot, open receiver. Rhymes has it. Dominic Rhymes, just like 2 weeks ago. If it's a catch, they'll look at it again, I'm sure, but everybody's moving up. We saw that with Adams a couple of weeks ago at McMahon. Big plays through the air.
A little bit of confusion in the back end, and what you always want to try to make sure you're doing in some of these confusions is cover the deep ball. Give up the underneath throw, cover the deep ball. Yes, Calgary right now was running up to the line of scrimmage because this might have been a questionable catch. Yeah. So in situational football, Calgary's going to run all the way up, try to call a play with no huddle, and force Winnipeg to use their challenge, which
Winnipeg's
they did
challenge the ruling of
without seeing.
The previous play of a completed catch.
You saw that last replay, Lapo, the ball hitting the turf after what looked like a brilliant catch by Rhymes, but looks like this one could be coming back. They're reviewing now.
You'll see Rhymes. What will happen when you can roll it, guys? We'll show it, give you a pause at one point. If you pause it right here, this player, Cramdy, should be higher. They get caught up underneath. That's the read for the quarterback. Make sure you can see that, hey, if that player's feet are flat-footed, I'm going to throw right over the top of him on the post. Make sure you can make that shot downfield by reading the halfback's feet. If he's flat-footed, you're going to take that deep shot. If they lift, you throw underneath.
And you can clearly see on that last replay, this is not a catch. Comes loose as it hits the turf. A noble effort by Rhymes. Nearly another big play for the Calgary offense, but they are marching it back now to be made official from the replay center in Justin McInnes.
And you can see, as Luke Wilson talked about,
after review, The ruling on the field is overturned to an incomplete pass. Third down.
Calgary's got something they want to do. They want to attack the boundary. As you can see, a couple of throws over there on Bonds, Nichols, and Riddick Ramsey was over on that side this time, but there's a lot of throws to the boundary side, the shorter side of the field. That's what they're attacking of this Winnipeg defense.
And so the punter, Mark Bassett, in his first year out of Colorado, another Australian punter, is back inside the Calgary 40. Nearly another big play. As mentioned earlier, there was one to Clark Barnes to start the game. Barnes ended up getting hurt on that play. But that's how Calgary's offense was rolling last time around. Also a big one to Jalen Philpott. Vernon Adams had himself a day on big plays. Of course, the defense really chipped in as well with a couple of pick sixes. With the punt by Bassett. Bassett to Babel, who lets it roll and takes it off the hop inside the 5. Nowhere to go. All contained, and Winnipeg will have to start deep in their zone on good punt coverage there by the Calgary Stampeders.
Most offensive points this season, Winnipeg 26.4. You've got Hamilton 26.4. Hey, Nick Dembski's one of the guys we like putting this board up of him because there's so many, obviously leads the CFL in consecutive catches. Speed sweeps. This is a guy that there's a big trust factor in Zach, where he will be in the right place at the right time, and that's what a quarterback wants. Explosive offense, especially in this field, albeit missing Dalton Schoen, their slot back, and missing their left tackle Stanley Bryant as well, injured and out in this game. They tried running at that time and just able to grind out a couple of yards. And a second long coming up here for Winnipeg. The Bombers have already had 2 byes, by the way. Played BC in the first 2 games in weeks 2 and 3, won those, then beat Edmonton here before losing at McMahon a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, and they were going to have to play 11 straight, right, after they've already had their 2 byes. So second and long here from a backed up position. So this is interesting from a, for the play caller, Jason Hogan, offensive coordinator of the Bombers, got to be a little bit careful about, being careful about where the goal post is to the quarterback's left. Got to be careful how they're throwing the football. You want to make sure if Zach doesn't take too deep of a drop, because the goalpost could be an issue. Here we go in a 2nd and 8 from the end zone. Polaris, deep shot. Especially here at Princess Auto Stadium. There's the corner route we just talked about. When you get that opportunity, he's going to run here and take it a nice high angle. Throw it high, let him run it down. I've seen this too many times with these 2 guys. Now it's speeding up with a little bit of tempo here. Huge explosive play to flip the field. That's what you want to do when you're in a backed up position. Can you get an explosive play and flip the field? 75-yard gain from the Calgary 30 suddenly, as Collaros has to get rid of it quickly. Trying to get that one to Oliveira, but charging it was Jalen Hutchings to put the heat on Collaros there. Active reception streaks, and there you go. I can remember being my first time with Zach Collaros in 2019. We were talking about our roster and everything. I remember he came into my office one day and says, "You know what, Lapo, I didn't know Nick Dembski was this fast." Yeah. I'm like, yeah, he is a explosive football player, and just been a joy to coach, and he's really been somebody who, like, this team can just go, all right, when I need a big play, I'm finding this football. 76 straight games with a catch. You see the streak continued for Calgary's Dominic Rhymes as well. Throwing again, intercepted. That one right to the newcomer on the corner. That's Anthony Johnson Jr. in his CFL debut. He is filling in for the injured Tyler Richardson. A big hole to fill, and it is filled nicely there as Johnson gets the pick off Collaros to snuff out that Winnipeg drive. You can see Cody Case here as the intended receiver, and as Cody Case, he ends up working for width to go outside. This is Cody Case right here. He's going to go up, he's going to work outside and bend in. As he starts to bend in, what happens? He loses his balance a little bit. He wraps this halfback. Right here, he loses balance, falls down here. So Not a terrible throw, maybe a little bit high, but Johnson's right there to make him pay. So once again, this team that leads the CFL in takeaways keeps playing zone, making the most of their opportunities to intercept the football.
The 5th team interception for Calgary this year. 3 of those have gone for touchdown. Knocked at the line of scrimmage and nearly picked off the other way. Dietrich Nichols would have had a shot at it as it's batted and wobbles up at the line, and Nichols is still down. Slowly getting up. A chance it was there for Winnipeg's defense.
Looks like the crafty veteran Jake Thomas right in the middle, throws his hand up, gets a knockdown. Willie Jefferson right there. A little bit of pressure from this Bomber team trying to slow down Calgary. Bring some pressure with the middle linebacker coming off the edge.
And sorry, Terrell Bonds was the one that could get a hand on it after it looked like it got deflected at the line. So some heat from the Bomber defense. And it's a 2nd and long coming up here. 2nd and 10 now for Vernon Adams as Nichols was hurt on the play and gets an escort off the field.
Jake Thomas in his 13th season in the Canadian Football League. Just an outstanding football player, representative of this Canadian Football League. Very fortunate to draft him, Rod, years ago, 2012. Just enjoyed him so much as a professional.
They quickly whistle it in now. Stampeders over the ball. 2nd and 10 at their 45, leading 7-6. Willie Jefferson trying to move in. Can't get there, and it gets to Tevin Jones. Another big play by the offense of the Stampeders through the air as Jones, another newcomer to this Calgary team after starting initially in Saskatchewan and briefly in Montreal. First down, Calgary on the move with a 1-point lead.
I'm missing the sound of your heart beating.
More, Lapo.
You can see the game plan for the Calgary Stampeders. What's their change up from 2 weeks ago? A little bit more passing yards in this game. That you didn't see the rushes as much with Diedrich Mills, but a lot of throws on the perimeter. And one of the things, the weaknesses of this Winnipeg defense, sometimes they cover all those slots, but they give you opportunity, the slot receivers, they give you opportunities to throw out on the corners and attack the corners. That's what their game plan is in this first quarter.
Well, it's great to have Kate Burness in our panel there, including, of course, Milt Stiegel, a legend in these parts here. And Kate, oh, gotta love it. Involved here in the firing of the T-shirt cannon. I see Sarah Lusky there.
Sarah Lusky, there it is.
High fives all around and having some fun here with this 90s night here at Princess Auto Stadium.
Rumor has it she didn't get her license in time to fly the plane.
Oh, is that right? We'll have to look into that. Calgary football, and back on the ground to Dietrich Mills. Gets it down just inside the Winnipeg 25 with the 1-point lead.
Really good by Diedrich Mills here. Really good blocking up front. Christy McCanno gives a really good kick-out block to get this yardage for Diedrich Mills early in the run game, get this 5-yard gain.
Stampeders in their opening drive moved it down. Short yardage touchdown by Quincy Vaughn, and that still stands for the lead at 7-6. 2nd and 5 now. Stamps scoring range. The heat is coming. Michael Griffin nearly gets to him, and it goes up. Rhett Cramby in the coverage on Rhymes inside the 5, and Rhymes is able to get a hand on it, but it falls incomplete, and it's a 3rd down and a field goal try coming on for Rene Paredes.
Winnipeg showing their hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. You can't block them all. If you watch Vernon Adams, he knows it's coming. Watch him start to drift to his right. He's waiting to try to get a shot to Dominic Rhymes because the safety's out of the middle of the field in 0. So you got a veteran quarterback who just knows, I'm going to drift, try to throw it to my big guy in the middle of the field. They just couldn't connect. Good pressure by Winnipeg.
Calgary's challenging the previous play for pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
So we just heard Justin McKinnon say that Dave Dickinson is challenging for PI on that coverage by Rhett Cramby and Dominic Rhymes. So they're going to review that. Big challenge coming up here as that ball was just landing inside the Winnipeg 5. Thinks there's pass interference here.
This is a good stop by Winnipeg, trying to change up what we do. We can't play all zone. Vernon M seen every picture in the book, so sometimes, especially a team like Winnipeg who doesn't do a lot of different coverages, they go ahead and make sure, hey, let's take a couple of shots every once in a while. Let's pressure with extra people. Here we can see this. They're going to take a look and see what Rhett Cramdy's right hand is doing. Is it pulling down Dominic Rhymes' right arm before the ball gets there? That's what they're going to be looking for. This is so hard as a defensive back. You're in a good position. You're there. You're covering. Don't put your hands on. And sometimes young DBs will sometimes not trust themselves. If they're in a good position, they're going to go grab and reach, and that's when some of those PI calls will happen.
Well, at the very least, Stamps in position for a field goal. Could they be put in position for a touchdown? Big decision coming up here to be announced from the replay center.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Calgary will be charged with timeout.
Without even hearing Justin McInnes, you can see by the reaction of Dave Dickinson which way that went. Doesn't like it, but he still has a chance to see his team go back up by 4 if Paredes out. And the ball be put down by Mark Bassett right around the Winnipeg 32 for one of the great kickers of all time. Paredes 10 for 13 this year, longest of 51. No problem there. Straight through. 4-point game again as we get set for Brady Oliveira. And the Winnipeg offense again. He has 4 carries, 17 yards, just his 3rd game of the season because of injury. We'll be back in Winnipeg.
At OK Tire, we can fix your pickup. We can fix things that pick up your pickup. And we can even fix things.
He is the reigning most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League. Last year, Brady Oliveira had over 1,300 yards rushing to lead the way. And most carries Lapo since 2022.
And Brady, the biggest thing that Brady gives this offense is he's a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield, a guy who's great in protection, and obviously an outstanding runner. Low center of gravity. He's got balance. You want balance in your tailback to make, as they make people miss. He can make a move and then kick more south. And he's a very powerful runner, as we see right now.
Makes a couple of moves, a little spin too to pick up more yardage. Oliveira, it was their opening game in week 2 against BC right here where he busted off a 43-yard run but got injured as he was taken down, a shoulder injury. So he was done and missed the next 2 games, came back against Calgary at McMahon 2 weeks ago and picked up 61 yards.
And Calgary Stampeder defensively, they talk about, you talk to their coaching staffs, you talk to their players, they say we got to stop the run first and foremost, then we'll work on everything else. You can see offensive coordinator Jason Hogan for the Winnipeg. We had a great conversation with him this week. Players really enjoy how, as a veteran players enjoy, he's listened to what they want to call in the course of the game.
Calling a pass here, and Collaros barely gets rid of it and completes it to Dembski. Oh, they hooked up for a big one in the first quarter for 75 yards, and then there was a pass picked off after that. But they connect here now, and a big first down in Stampeder territory. Collaros to Dembski again.
He climbs the pocket. He knows where his receivers are, and he just waits, makes the throw up here. The off-schedule game of Zach Collaros, he's such an on-time. He knows every coverage. So normally you see the ball out of his hands quickly, but when he can do some off-schedule stuff, it is special. How he started out in the Canadian Football League. It's less and less because he's such a smart quarterback. He knows where to go with the ball as soon as ball snapped. But when he can do the off-schedule stuff, really problems for a defense, especially this Calgary zone defense.
Derek Moncrief in on the tackle, tried to swat that one away, but he'll bomber ball and back to Oliveira. And Micah Tights among those in the Stamps to make sure he gets nothing. Charles Wiley in there as well for Calgary. Nothing there for Brady Oliveira.
You know, and an interesting stat about Calgary, there's Bob Slowick, defensive coordinator. We had a great conversation with him. The veteran, spent many years in the National Football League as a defensive coordinator. And this defense has not given up more than 1 opponent TD drive all season long. So they've given up 1 TD drive, but they haven't given up a second. Amazing stat for them. Their streak is 5 games of doing that.
Second and long. Collaros throwing to the right.
really simple. I'm going to go and attack. I'm going to attack the receiver. Watch Dembski right here. He's going to go in and then back out on Moncrief. This is zone coverage, but Moncrief has to protect the inside of this zone coverage. So what do? You lean into it and then bang back out. Beautiful throw by Zach and great hand-eye coordination for Nick to make this play downfield.
Collaros putting it right in there, and look at that. Now, there was a 75-yarder there, but 3 catches for 109 already for Dembski. Collaros to work again. Caught inside the 10. Down to the 5, and reaching for the end zone is Carrick Wheatfall. His first catch of this game. Their leading receiver coming in, and a big one there to set up a 1st and goal Winnipeg.
You talk about floods in the Canadian Football League where one person goes deep, somebody goes in the flat, and then somebody goes here. You're going to see this, and you try to send 3 people to the sideline. You can see it right there. There's 3 people. There's only one person had to go deep. The halfback is in the bind. Great execution of the flood play into the boundary, pushing everybody away from the coverage.
He had only 1 catch for 8 yards 2 weeks ago in Calgary. He's already got more than that. 1st and goal at the 4. Touchdown! Touchdown, Winnipeg! And who else? The way it's gone tonight, it's Collaros to Dembski to get it done.
We just talked about how quickly Zach recognized coverage. See, he sees the zone coverage at the goal line. He knows he has Nick Dembski in between 2 zone defenders. He just takes the football, throws it to Nick Dembski for the touchdown. The relationship between these two guys is obviously one of the best in the Canadian Football League.
And the 5th touchdown of the season for the veteran. 10th year out of Manitoba. Nick Dembski right at home, and pushed that streak to 76 games a while ago with at least 1 catch. At least 1 catch. Had a whole lot more in this one. Over 100 yards even before this play. Collaros to Dembski yet again. And Winnipeg takes their first lead of this game.
Nick Dembski gets the touchdown off what I call the taco play. What are you talking about? It's a 2, it's a corner, and an out. Watch what happens. If you watch Moncrief here, right there, he starts to look outside to go push to the outside part of the zone. There's nobody on the inside part of the zone. Zach's looking at that halfback, seeing that there's nobody standing over Nick Dembski. Easy throw, easy processing on the taco route, Rod. How about that? I call it a taco. I don't know if they call it taco.
You're making me hungry. That on the side of the panel with all that food. Kalen Horton back with Ludwig Choquette for this kick return now as the Stamps find themselves down by 3. Collaros 4 for 4 in that drive for 64 yards, capped off by Dembski. Down for Horton, outside the 10. Kalen Horton, first-year Stamp, big return out of bounds. He gets it up across the 40, but the 44. Well, he was the first pick overall in the draft, and you can see why, especially last week. Damian Alfred, they call him Moose. And there was a Moose sighting in Regina with a couple of touchdowns. Let's head down to field level and say hello to Britt Dorn.
Well, you might say Rod Moose on the loose, definitely showing off why he was the first overall pick last week. And perhaps his chemistry was built because he actually had a little mini camp with VA before the draft even happened this year. But he did tell us VA didn't even remember who I was when I came to the Stamps. Might notice his height, 6'6". He tells us he plays like a big receiver because he has to, but his favorite player, guys, Chado Chocinco, who is about 6'1", so a little difference in height there. But hey, maybe he plays like him.
Hey, Britt, we just had our first Moose sighting there as it comes down, but incomplete. But yeah, that was a big day he had last week. 156 yards receiving. That is the most by a #1 overall pick since Don Blair, also the Calgary Stampeders, back in 2002.
He had a spectacular career at Syracuse. He's on the outside here on a little bit of a double move. You see him. It's what you want to do. One-on-one matchup, go make the play. Couldn't get his eyes right and his hand-eye to make this catch. He had 1 year at Utah, Rod. You just weren't sure. He didn't have productivity. Didn't play a lot against Utah, so everyone's kind of going off his younger year film at Syracuse to see he can be an impact player.
Throwing on second down. It is caught by Eric Brooks. First catch of this game. Up to midfield. Turns around and gets enough to pick up a Calgary first down.
Calgary doing a good job recognizing, hey, here comes a little bit more pressure at this Winnipeg defense. Let's bring some people in to buy a little bit of time to get the ball out to Brooks on the sideline. A little bit more space. Works for it for the first down. And you could tell Alford was going to be in the conversation, Rod, as a draft pick, because what is Vernon Adams like? Big guys he can throw to. Justin McInnes, who is the guy in Calgary that they could use to throw deep to, the big guy?
Handing off now to Diedrich Mills, dancing his way around, trying to find an opening, and there just isn't much there. Bombers have everything plugged up. Coming up is Dietrich Nichols, the boundary halfback, be in on that Winnipeg tackle and limit the
second long situation. If they want to pressure, now they can pressure, because any catch from a second and long position should be able to get them off the field. They should be able to rally up and make the tackle on second and long.
Second and 8. The Winnipeg 53. 13-10. Bombers have the lead. Vernon Adams goes to work. Over the middle, it is caught by Dominic Rhymes. Rhymes with another catch down to the 36, and another Calgary first down.
You're going to see Dominic Rhymes wrap again. Retta Cramdy's going to show up on our screen pretty soon. You'll see right there, there's Retta Cramdy. Dominic Rhymes wraps behind him. Behind that low player. Big target, easy throw from Vernon.
Gain of 16 yards. Here comes Calgary again. Trailing in the game, but they've been able to move the ball. Some big plays through the air. Rhymes has been a part of that. Taking the handoff. Pump fake with time. Deep look down the right to the end zone. Get out the Moose Antlers. The rookie Damien Alford has his 4th touchdown, and there is a flag back in the Calgary backfield as the Stampeders celebrate another touchdown catch for that young man, Damien Alford.
Quarterbacks want
Rushing
big
the passer,
targets.
Winnipeg, number 93. That 15-yard penalty will be applied on the kickoff. Touchdown stands.
A little bit of a play action. They're going to try to take a shot play. Vernon sees the one-on-one matchup on the outside on Terrell Bonds. And again, you talk about big receivers. Why? Because you can spot the ball anywhere. They can jump for the ball. They can bring their hands down and catch it over the top of the defensive backs. But again, you can see this relationship building. And I just talked about Vernon Adams wants big targets he can throw to. That's why he can throw it up and let the big play receiver make the play.
6'6", 225. His coach at Syracuse called him Moose, and you can see why. Moose was on the loose. Had his first touchdown 2 weeks ago. Had 2 more last week in Regina. Number 4, Damien Alford. Calgary's back in front here in Winnipeg.
37 yards on this touchdown to Damien Alford on the outside. Now, take a look. What you want to see at Terrell Bonds as a defensive back, watch his eyes. When this play starts, he's looking into the backfield. Veteran defensive backs are going to sneak a peek, but you better get out of your back pedal. You better start to turn and run, especially against Damien Alford for what he's done the last couple of weeks. So you got to make sure, I know as a defensive back, you're going to look into the backfield a little bit, but certainly you better turn and run because Vernon wants to take those shots downfield. And if he sees DBs, even with that receiver, he's going to throw it up, and you can see the touchdown right there to Alford.
And Beretta's with the kickoff now as Calgary retakes the lead by 4 on the return, and it is Vavel getting that one up or close to the 20.
My memory and money was this river that I'm in. New Orleans is sinking, man, and I don't want to swim.
Good first half here in a Friday night in Winnipeg. 17-13 Calgary. Zach Collaros back on. They had a touchdown drive capped off by Nick Dembski to take the lead. Back comes Calgary. Collaros is 8 for 10, 151, a touchdown pass and a pick right after a 75-yard connection with Dembski. So here we go from the Winnipeg 20. Play action fake. Collaros with time. He's chucking it deep. Dembski wants him again, but no. It is picked off. A bit too far for Dembski, and it's Jaden Grant who takes it. And so Collaros, who's still down on the field, is intercepted for the second time in this game.
Looks like Clarence Hicks came off the edge, you'll see, and he's the one that delivered the blow to Zach Collaros. The big hit, little bit of a twist inside. He sees a crease to go and delivers the blow. Taking the shot to Dembski downfield. The safety doesn't bite on the underneath route and is there to make the play.
And Collaros is still down on a knee at the 10. A few Bomber teammates around, fans upset on the hit by Hicks and booing now with no penalty flag. And Calgary's offense on, of course, after the turnover. It's Calgary football, but they can't start play yet with Collaros down and getting some attention from the training staff. As mentioned, way back at the Winnipeg 10.
Jaden Grant doing an excellent job of understanding. Yes, there's people in front of me, but I got to stay in my deep zone to make sure that Nick Dembski's going to turn upfield. I got to stay as deep as the deepest. He does that. That is why this defense, they do not give up big plays. 20-plus passes against, best in the Canadian Football League. They keep you from taking these big shots, explosive plays.
As Collaros, good to see, as jogs off the field. Defensive rankings this season, you see with the Stampeders and how much they have improved defensively. Dave Dickinson made that a priority in the offseason.
Last in the CFL last year in takeaways, last in a lot of categories. And you can see the flip the script for what they've done with 12 new starters, new defensive coordinator. Bob Sloat was in the organization, but a spectacular job by the defense. Calgary Stampeders.
Here comes Vernon Adams again, handing off to Dedrick Mills. He pushes across the 45, and he's able to work it up to about the 49 before getting tackled there by Nichols. A second down coming up. Stamps with the ball again, leading it under 6 minutes to go until halftime, 17-13.
And the Bombers this season, as we see Zach go to head to the sideline to get looked at. But the Bombers, when they're even or win the turnover margin, Rod, they've won 100% of their games. Their one loss, they were minus in the turnover margin. Right now, they're leaning towards being minus in the turnover margin. You've got to get some takeaways back to help even this up.
Second down and 5. Off the fake. Adams gets rid of it deep again. And it is intercepted. Intended there for runs. It's Evan Holm who has it. And a flag is out. And the crowd getting fired up again. A flag is down back near the original line of scrimmage. And we'd like to welcome viewers of TSN4
Calgary,
watching
number
NSL.
57. A penalty is declined. First down.
Rod Smith, Paul Lapalisse, Britt Dort, Luke Wilson, our panelists here as well, watching an interesting game. Second in 3 weeks between the Bombers and the Stampeders, who lead, but there was a roughing penalty, an interception. It is Winnipeg football, and here's how it happened, Lapo.
Calgary taking their shot play, too. Very similar. Same thing. Field halfback picks it off. Evan Holm underneath this ball. When the ball's in the air this long, the defensive backs have plenty of time to run underneath it. Evan Holm's there. It's a little underthrown. That's a long throw. Dominic Rhymes just talked about it. The Bombers got to get something in the takeaway department, bring some takeaways back to even this out. Here comes Chris Straub.
He is on, in case you're just joining us, because Zach Collaros was hurt in their last possession and is headed to the dressing room. Straubler started game 1. A victory by Winnipeg. Played last week, was 5 for 7. They run it there, and they just keep on running. Enough for a first down after contact, pushing all the way up near the Winnipeg 40 for Brady Oliveira.
You can see Winnipeg, they got an extra offensive lineman, Tuli Ellie in there kicking out, trying to create a space inside for Brady.
And they run tempo up over the ball quickly on a 1st and 10 at the Winnipeg 39. Faking to Oliveira, Strebler being chased by Flo Rimolade, and he just has to throw it out of bounds. No options there for Chris Strebler in at quarterback for Winnipeg. 2nd and 10 coming up.
So sometimes when you run these zone read plays like Chris Strebler just did, what that means, you read the defensive end and pull it. If the end crashes, you got to know which defensive end it is, Rod, because sometimes Flo Rimolade, I'm not pulling it off that guy. I'm going to make sure that he really has run down the line of scrimmage because he's so athletic. He can come across and make you pull it and then still recover, which is what happened on that last play.
Grey Cup champion with the Argos last year, a couple of years in Toronto, with Calgary before that, and traded back. Cameron Judge, so back with the Stamps. Here is Strebler for Winnipeg in a 2nd down, and he's running around again. And chased by Jalen Hutchings, so that the Stamps are getting pressure on Chris Strebler on that possession, and a 3rd down is coming up for Winnipeg.
And this is what Calgary's built for. We're going to pressure with only 4 players. When you can get pressure with 4 players, force the quarterback to be uncomfortable. You got everybody else in zone, gives you an opportunity to just play zone coverage, drop everybody out, keep everything in front. Strebler throws it away 2 consecutive plays in a row.
So Jamison Sheehan is back to punt, standing at the Winnipeg 25. Offenses, both of them have been hitting some big plays, but Winnipeg stalls there. And it is Caitlin Horton on the return up across the Calgary 30, gets it up to about the 33. Interesting development. Ooh, a late flag coming out there too, but interesting. Across the pond at the Open Championship is Scotty Scheffler. Made his move in round 2. He shot a 64, and he now has the 1-shot lead off Matt Fitzpatrick. Brian Harmon in there as well. So off to round 3. You can watch the Open, TSN and CTV, bright and early tomorrow. Mike O'Shea. Conversation with the officials, wanting an explanation here. There was a flag out.
15-yard misconduct penalty against Winnipeg, number 47. That 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's against special teamer Tanner Cadwallader. And that'll certainly help the Stampeders out as they move it all the way up to the Calgary 47 now in that flag.
This is a great play. Yep. Trying to see what happened here. A little bit of extra work. Not sure I really found that penalty, Rod, there.
No, I don't think Mike O'Shea did either. Dedrick Mills cuts it back. A nice move by Mills. Keeps his feet. Gets a 1st down. Inside the Bomber zone, across midfield, and down to the 50. And the sticks move for Calgary again after a pickup of 12 yards by Dedrick Mills.
Space can be not very friendly for defensive backs. Dedrick Mills cuts the weak arm, makes, as Cranby overplays it, he cuts the what I always call cut the weak arm. Put your foot in the ground and break against his inside arm because he's not going to be able to make that tackle. Dedrick's got such a powerful lower body. But this was a great series here.
He has 6 carries, 42 yards, and even 7 to carry for Dedrick Mills. Back in his hands now on that 1st and 10, and he is tied up and taken down there. It's James Vaughters, the ex-Calgary Stampeder, in that tackle on his former teammate, Dedrick Mills. 3-minute warning. Back on the sideline with the TSN panel race. It is Stiegel versus Burnett. Oh, they're all tied up. Controversy now as Stiegel is going down. And now Enoch Mwamba takes it. They're going to carry it. Burnett, is this against the rules?
Is this legal?
There are no rules as Burnett races to the victory with Sanchez and Stiegel well behind. And Luke Wilson, I don't think Luke likes it. Our panel is here, and they're going to have more thoughts on that race and on this game coming up in under 3 minutes' time. What a race. What a game. Vernon Adams made some big plays inside the Winnipeg 50. 4-point lead. Here we go in a 2nd and 8. And we had early movement. A receiver taking off way
Calgary, number 87. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Hardest part of playing in Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, teams that have loud stadiums, is this process. They're trying to figure out what play they're going to call. They did what I call a stutter cadence, and then you still have to time up a no-huddle, no communication with verbal communication, because the receivers can't hear. So there has to be a hand signal from the quarterback. Then the receiver's got to be on the same page, not on the same page, and that's why you see the big penalty. And obviously a smart football crowd is making even more noise after that penalty.
This crowd is loud. 2nd and 13. Picking it up now. Couple of yards inside midfield. Adams facing the heat. They can't get to him. He takes off. Looks like he wanted to throw it, and a late flag comes out again as VA slides down. Not even close to a first down, so this flag could be critical late here in the first half.
Usually when a quarterback is scrambling and he starts to move and break the pocket, what happens at times is there's going to be a pull. And
Holding, Calgary, number 65. It's 10-yard penalty. We'll repeat second down.
Christian Akanu, you'll see it at the guard position. What I mean by a pull is as the quarterback starts to run, as he's engaging, the offensive lineman doesn't know he's moving to his right. You'll see right here. And as Vernon starts to move to his right, McKenna doesn't know what's happening. And as the defensive lineman starts moving, there's the tug. So movement by quarterback's great, but you will tend to get more holding penalties when you have a mobile quarterback.
Would have been critical if it had gone against Winnipeg, but instead pushes the Stampeders back to a 2nd and 23. For Adams again, 4-man rush, getting chased, steps away! Looked like another interception, very close for
conversation with offensive coordinator Pat Delmonico and Vernon. Say, hey, we're 2nd and 25 here. The worst thing you can do, usually you're not going to convert this down in distance. Don't put ourselves in a bad position to flip the field and turn the ball over and give Winnipeg an opportunity to flip the field. They got their 2nd-string quarterback in. Hey, live to fight another down, throw it away. You can see the conversation right now. Those guys talking through it.
That's at the punt. Vavel to return. Trey Vavel back. First-year Bomber lets it roll. It's heading towards the end zone, but doesn't get there. Has to pick it up. Gets tackled down near the goal line by Godfrey Onyeka. What a punt. Well placed there by Vassett. Well, how about Calgary's defense, the pressure they've been getting, Luke Wilson?
Yeah, Rod, and it's really been with just their front four, and that's what's been really impressive to me, is they haven't brought a lot of exotic looks or pressures or anything like that. They're just getting after it up front, and I think right now, especially with Streveler in, if you're Winnipeg, you got to settle these boys down because you want to give clear windows to your 2nd-string quarterback who's coming in off the bench. It's very, very tough to throw in this league when you can get pressure with 4 and drop 8 defenders. There's just not that many windows. So again, right now, you're already backed up. You'll probably get a couple runs here early, hope to get a first down, but we need to protect here once we start throwing the football.
And Luke, talk about being backed up. They're right at the 1, handing off to Oliveira, gets it up to around the 5, and a 2nd down coming up. That after a brilliant putt by Vassett. There's John Bowman, Hall of Fame defensive lineman, the Montreal Alouettes. What a great career he had, and was coaching in BC, and now with the Stampeders.
Bob Solik spoke so highly about his defensive staff, defensive coordinator of the Calgary Stampeders. And talked about John Bowman, talked about Baron Miles, and that these guys are really, as former players in the, you see Baron Miles right there, as former players in the Canadian Football League. They relate well to their players, and he really enjoys working with them every day and what they're bringing.
Big 2nd down, and swinging it off to Jarrett Stearns. He gets to the first down marker. Huge for the Bombers late in the half, but they don't have to punt the football from their end zone. So good work after the catch by Stearns, and a first down for Winnipeg.
If you want to play quarterback in the Canadian Football League, you have to have recognition. There's pressure off the edge. The Bombers had built in a pass play in case the Sam linebacker blitzes. You can't block him in some of these pictures. So what does Streveler do? Recognize it, throws it out to Stearns, flips the field for the first down. You either block him or you throw off him, and that's a good example of Streveler throwing off the free rusher.
Chris Streveler, the quarterback, because of an injury, a few minutes ago to Zach Collaros, who headed off to the dressing room. Strebler keeps it himself on that read, and known to run the football himself. He gets it up near another Winnipeg first down, up across the Bomber 20.
And from a situational football standpoint, this part of the game, I think this is a bad handoff, and he just took it. So it turned into quarterback ISO. Brady's probably like, hey, what are you doing? You're taking the ball away. You can see it's not a great exchange. So he says, I'll just follow it. Don't worry. You just block for me. I'll get the play. But from a situational standpoint here, a couple of first downs. They're flipping the field. If they 2-and-outed from the 1-yard line, Rod, you would have left plenty of time with a short field for this dynamic Stampeder offense. So this is really good situational football right now.
And now 1:20 on the clock until halftime. There's Oliveira's carry, and not much there. Another couple of yards for Brady Oliveira, two-time defending rushing leader, most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League last year. And the big guys up front is the center, Chris Kolonkowski. And a change in the offensive line tonight with Stanley Bryant, the veteran left tackle, out injured with an ankle injury. So Micah Vanterpool moved out to tackle, and it was Gabe Wallace moving there. You see him, 61 at left guard. So changes in the offensive line for this game tonight for Winnipeg. First and 10 at the Bomber 23. Strebler gets it to Cody Case, and not much there, and a late throwdown by Micah Tights, and the officials in the stands want something called on that one. Didn't quite like the late treatment they felt by Tights on Case.
Great tackle. You know, sometimes you're going to be put in these situations, but Adrian Green on the wide side of the field says, okay, I'm free. I'm going to come up. I'm going to make the tackle on the shifty Cody Case.
Who receives a pass from Chris Strebler like in 2017 when they were together in South Dakota. On the draw, that's Dembski. He has a big run this time after several big catches. That one up across the 50. Don't look now, the Bombers couple of plays away from maybe getting in field goal range. 28 seconds to go.
Draw play. You know Calgary plays a lot of zone, so as they expand, hand it off to your skilled players, let them get the ball.
Working quickly, Strebler taken down. It's Clarence Hicks coming in on his blind side and sacks him back at the 43. So 22 seconds on the clock, and much further to cover now for Winnipeg in a second and long.
Hicks continues to play at a high level all the way on the left-hand side. You'll see him on this speed rush here. Come cross, get Strebler. Strebler's got to go tempo here because the clock's running out. They didn't decide not to use a timeout. It's just a difficult penalty. Once you're going to lose time, you're going to have to go up to the line of scrimmage. Make it difficult for them to get the opportunity to get in field goal range.
So getting down close to halftime, Kate in the panel standing by after a questionable rules violation in that airplane race, by the way. We'll get to that later.
Get to the bottom of that.
Yep. Yeah. Perhaps Stiegel and Sanchez could be declared winners. Who knows? 3rd and 18. By the way, absolutely heartwarming. See the ovation for Milt Stiegel coming back here. Winnipeg. We with the panel as Strebler takes a knee. And an interesting first half, chock full of big plays, and by the defenses as well. As Dave Dickinson's team heads to the dressing room, they have the 4-point lead, and part of that lead belongs to the rookie again, Damian Alford.
Throwing it up, giving them opportunities on the outside. Had a drop early on a deep ball opportunity. What do? Just keep feeding. When you get the one-on-one matchup, take those one-on-one matchups when you can. Burnside on the outside. No, the run game has not been as it's been a little bit more difficult this game, so that's why they're trying to push the ball downfield, get some of those opportunities.
4 touchdowns for Moose Alford in 3 games. He is standing by now with Brett.
Damien, you told us earlier this week you see the ball and you track it. So tell us how you were able to be successful on that touchdown pass.
It was the same thing I told y'all. VA trusted me enough with those types of balls to catch them. He threw it up, and
the defender was on me, but I still have to get a little bit of separation to get the ball, and that's exactly what happened.
How can this offense be efficient in the second half here?
We just got to get back to playing our type of football. We got to slow it down a little bit, but we got it. We good. We just got to go in the locker room, talk about certain things, and after we'll come back out in the second half and do what we got to do.
Thanks so much, Damien.
Thank you.
Well, we'll send things off to Kate, and I'm going to give you the win on that race.
Thank you, Britt. I agree. I think there was a lane.
Halftime Friday Night Football in Winnipeg, and it's the Stampeders leading the Blue Bombers 17-13. A lot of the Bombers offense coming courtesy Nick Dembski, who's standing by with Britt Dorff.
Nick, before the game, you told me that you're always so successful here because of the fans, but you had a great first half. What do you attribute it to again tonight?
Yeah, I mean, fans are showing up. O-line's doing a good job. You know, the quarterback's throwing on time. You know, everybody's doing their piece, so you know, makes it easy on me. But you know, we still got a big task ahead of us. Obviously, we got to go out here and play better football in the second half. We want to get this win.
Well, whether it's Claros or Strebler back there, how do you adjust your offense?
Yeah, we just, you know, we play hard. No matter who's back there, we still got to do our roles and still got to be on time with our procedures and all that good stuff. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's back there. We got to do what we do as receivers, as the O-lines, running backs. Everybody falls into place. We'll be all right.
Thanks so much, Nick.
Thank you.
And Britt, we just learned that Zach Collaros will not be back in this game, injured early in the second quarter. So Calgary with the football. Kalen Horton with the football. And a good return up across to about the 37 on another burst there. So Vernon Adams in 8 for 15, 159, 1 touchdown pass, 1 interception Lapo, but he did complete some big passes.
One-on-one matchups on the outside, and again he's using his legs to be able to climb the pocket, make some of these throws, but he's been bang on with these throws. We saw this throw to Damien Alford for the big explosive touchdown. This second half, they got to make sure they can run the football. He doesn't make any bad throws when you're facing a team with their backup quarterback.
They started this game with a drive for a touchdown. They start the second half now in the hands of Dietrich Mills, and picks up a couple and into a blue and gold wall there. But yeah, big play VA, and we've seen that for the last couple of weeks, definitely. And here's where he ranks this season: 30 plus at 11, tied for first, 20 plus depth first, yards per completion as well on top.
And one of the biggest things, he's completed almost 58% of his passes, 20 plus yards, which is by far the best in the Canadian Football League. Some guys have for a knack for those downfield throws, but it's also, I have a throw it up to guy that I can trust, like you heard the panel talking about, a guy I can trust to throw it up, who's going to make those catches 60% of the time.
You see Alford out wide to the left for the Stampeder offense on this second down and 9. Adams throwing, and no, into the hands of Jalen Philpott. Low though, right down. He had to go down to try to get it, but it does fall incomplete, and so it's a 2 and out for Calgary to start the second half.
Good start for the Winnipeg defense here. Hey, that's what you want to do. Hey, force a 2 and out. Give my short field, give a good short field to the Winnipeg offense. Get Trevor in a position to start with pretty good field position. Good stop defensively.
Mark Bassett's last punt was a beauty. It ended up spinning and stopping right at the 1. This one down inside the 15 for Trey Ballard. And he is taken down at about the 25. So change at quarterback for Winnipeg, as mentioned, with Chris Streveler coming on, who played the opener when Zach Collaros was serving a suspension. This time he is out with an injury, and Lapo, just a sample of what went wrong for Zach in that first half.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a big a receiver falls down. This one's probably a shot he probably shouldn't take him with a halfback deep like this, and gives him and here he takes this shot right here. Difficult to see. Hopefully he gets back, but they're going to have to find a way to win Chris Trevor. Chris Trevor can give you a lot of things. This is a team that's going to play zone coverage. They're going to try to stop the run. Some play action passes, get Strevy in a position, keep the ball moving.
Well, faking the handoff, throwing that one incomplete. So 2nd and 10 coming up. But yeah, he did start the season And as the panel had discussed in their debate over Chris Streveler, did look good in that first game of the year against the BC Lions, picking up the victory.
Yeah, again, as any quarterback gets more and more reps, trying to see first down is one thing, but what can a quarterback do right here as we're sitting here, 2nd and 10? You can't move the launch point too much here. You can't do short play action passes. Can he stay in the pocket and throw the ball downfield versus zone coverages?
Setting up a draw to Brady Oliveira. He's got some room. Oliveira, he chugs across the 35. He looks like he has a first down, or very close to it, right around the 37-yard line, or they put it back. Sorry, it's short. It will be about a yard short as they quickly get up over the ball.
Draw play. What you do on a draw play, you invite the rushers upfield. You invite the rushers upfield, hand it to the tailback, gives them an opportunity to go. And I like that call by Jason Hogan. We see the wedge right here. They did a tempo wedge to get them first, but I like that call because sometimes on 2nd and 10, we know this is a zone team. Jason Hogan calls what? A draw play. So you don't put it all on your quarterback. Sooner or later, there should be a quarterback draw, so you don't force your quarterback to throw the ball on every 2nd and long yardage situation where the Bombers are one of the worst in the CFL at converting on 2nd and long. So good calls.
So they get the first. They're up to their 42 now. Chris Streveler at quarterback, and they run a toss to the left. Oliveira coming in, and Jacob Roberts, the starting weak side linebacker, who tracks him down and limits the damage to about a yard or two.
Roberts, great speed on the perimeter. 2nd-year player. Watch him chase this to the sideline. Strevy will have a little quick fake, and it's deciding whether Strevy's going to keep the ball. Is Streveler going to keep it, or he's going to flip it out to Brady? Flips it out to Brady. Roberts is in between both. He's got the speed to recover and play both the quarterback run and the toss to the outside.
Their leading tackler in his 2nd year now out of Wake Forest, Jacob Roberts, 2nd and 8 after that 2-yard pickup. Streveler under pressure gets it down, a low pass. It is caught down. Oliveira doing some good work after the catch, trying to fight his way to another first down. He does not get it, but he does get close. Will Streveler just stay on?
They had a player downfield, but you heard Luke Wilson talk about it with 4-man rush. A little bit of pressure for the quarterback, forces him off his spot. He gets to the check down, put him in a short yardage situation. Another tempo wedge for them.
Quickly moving and on to the left. Stacked up on that side, and Streveler does it again. Has enough for the first down. So your short yardage QB for Mike O'Shea also is running the offense right now with the injury to Zach Collaros, and they are moving impressively to start the 2nd half.
Bombers are -1 in turnover margin right now. They've got 2 turnovers to Calgary's 1. They've got to flip that. Teams with fewer turnovers this season, 16-2, Rod. 90% chance of winning football games. So they got to protect it, and they got to get a takeaway in the 2nd half.
Up across the 53, Streveler faking to Oliveira and throwing, and it is caught to its Carrick Wheatfall. His 2nd catch, he's pushed back, but his furthest advancement was just inside the 50 for the Stampeders. See where they mark this football. Indeed they will. Wheatfall had a catch that got them down near the end zone in the first half.
Keep an eye on this defender, Flo, as he shows up that he's going to chase Brady. Strevy hangs it in long enough to pull it. You layer a bunch of receivers so the quarterback can throw on the run. First down, puts you in a good position for a 2nd and short yardage play once again.
And this time the short yardage QB is Terry Wilson, who was backing up Zach Collaros in the Grey Cup game last year when Streveler was hurt, and Wilson does that dirty work. Gets another first down and short yardage. That was on a 2nd down play with Streveler getting a break as he comes back on.
Terry Wilson goes wide and on the outside, and you usually do that. That's why everyone goes, why do you have all these linemen in here? Why are there so many people here? Because you want to eliminate how many hits the quarterback gets. You also want to eliminate, you want to create more spaces that the defense has to cover. And the wider you go, the more defensive backs there is. So that's an advantage of flipping the ball to on the outside of all those big tight ends.
Here comes Winnipeg now to the Calgary 45, opening up the 2nd half. On that sweep, it's Cody Case. Finds the edge inside the 40, 35, 30. Cody Case, as mentioned, former teammate in his freshman year at South Dakota with Chris Streveler, who thrown him 5 touchdown passes back in 2017. And he hands off to him that time, and a good pickup for Case.
This is where the D-line and linebackers think the run is going to go. So is the back, but that's not what's happening. Watch. He's going to go across the formation. It's called a wrong way run. Dembski's there to help out. 2 great blocks on the perimeter, and that's all you need. 2 block, get the ball to Case, give them an opportunity to run around the defense. Good execution on their wrong way runs.
Down to the 26, play action pass coming here. Streveler. Deep look into the end zone for Wheatfall, but no, the coverage is there by Sheldon Arnold on Carrick Wheatfall. It falls incomplete. Second down coming up.
Carrick Wheatfall, the ball's a little bit underthrown here, but you would love Carrick Wheatfall to just kind of jump up, get his hands, and just take the ball away from the defensive back. He sees it's a little short. He just can't get his hands up over the top of the defensive back here as he tries to make this play. Just a little bit underthrown here. Mistimed his jump a little bit.
Wheatfall looking for his 3rd touchdown of the season. Doesn't happen there. There we go. Second down. Pressure. Getting rid of it. Caught by Oliveira, and he does a rest. Great work by Brady Oliveira to get down inside the 10. First and goal coming up Winnipeg.
I talked about helping your quarterback in these situations. Call a screen pass. Let all those guys rush. Let everyone get in coverage. Get one of your best football players the ball in space. Great execution of the screen pass. Great throw by Streveler there. Put the ball inside the 6-yard line. Now they got to finish. Calgary's defense, the best in the CFL, keeping you out of the end zone when you're inside the 20-yard line.
Bombers have been this close before, and this end of the field ended up in a touchdown to Nick Dembski in the first half. Here is Streveler. Escapes the pocket. Gets rid of the ball. Intercepted. Oh, my goodness. Adrian Green with his 3rd pick of the season. One earlier against the Argos went for a touchdown. That one saved a touchdown. The team leading the CFL in picks has another. Calgary Stampeder football.
I'm Trevor Harris. Gary Peters.
Winton McManus. Curly Gittens Jr.
This is Stanley Brown. You'd be silly to not draft me.
Interception of the season for Adrian Green. Had a pick 6 earlier in the year against the Argos. Watch, just keep an eye on his eyes. He's in zone coverage. He's covering his deep area. He sees Streveler start to run. He sees, oh, there's a receiver close by. The ball's in the air too long. He undercuts it, makes the play. He can't throw late, especially throwing to your left. Good heads-up play by Adrian Green. Again, we talked about this defense. Keeps you out of the end zone. Another takeaway for this Stampeder D.
Started his career with the BC Lions, came to Calgary after 3 years. 3rd pick of this season with his new team, 6th of his career. Calgary football. And it is Dedrick Mills pushing up to around the 25 on that first down play with the 2nd and long coming up. Adrian Green getting the start in the corner and really make an impression in that Calgary Stampeders defense. Former Stampeder Davis Sanchez.
And it hats off to Adrian Green. Ben LaBrosse, who got some playing time last year as a field halfback, as a national player, and a big competition during training camp. Who's going to be the starter? Adrian Green comes out and has performed at a high level for this defense. Leads the CFL in takeaways.
I mentioned he had 2-in-1 game in week 2 in Toronto. One went for a touchdown, and that one just inside the Calgary goal line, robbing Kevin's Clarkson. Still 17-13 Stamps. We got a first down there on that reception. It's Tevin Jones. Quieter day for him, but picks up another catch and a first down as this drive continues across around the 35 of Calgary.
Nothing to see here except for when you're in second and medium situations, you can run up and go 5 yards and in, and then the quarterback can throw me the ball before any defense can get there. This is all about being productive on 1st and 10 to be able to get these easy throws on 2nd and long, 2nd and medium.
So we got a first up at the Calgary 34. Up 17-13, faking to Mills, throwing and caught. Eric Brooks has it, and then he manages to keep his feet and get it up the 45. Across there and another Stampeder first down.
Vernon Adams pulls the ball quickly, even before Willie Jefferson can adjust. Willie Jefferson got good long arms, great adjustment, Willie Jefferson, but the ball's out of his hand. Vernon already knew where he's going to go with the football. A nice throw on the inside, but it's about his ability to process so quickly, especially on the run. Nice catch on the outside there by Eric Brooks.
What a momentum swing after the Bombers drove all the way down. The interception. Now the Stampeders moving it 2. Left side, Mills across the 50. Another good pickup by Dedrick Mills as he gets up near midfield, and a 2nd and short coming up here for Calgary.
Mills has great understanding, sees everything collapse inside, so he bounces it outside. Has good vision to see as everybody constricts inside. I'm going to take this and I'm going to wind it out. You call it a wind it all the way back as defenses stay everybody inside.
Pickup of 8 for Dedrick Mills. He has 10 carries for 58 yards and the longest of 17. It is a 2nd and 2. Crowd picks up. Going back to 26. First down and more. A flag comes out. That would be a first down for Dedrick Mills easily as he gets it inside the Bomber 50. This penalty looks like it's going against the Stampeders.
Hey, 2nd down. Punt alert, fellas.
Looks like Joshua Coker. Let's see who gets this one. Josh Coker is right here. We'll see if he's the culprit of this one. They're still taking a look at it.
Unnecessary roughness, leg whip, Calgary, number 54. It's a 15-yard penalty. We'll repeat 2nd down.
So you're just not allowed to. You're allowed to cut within the box. With the box is called the line of scrimmage, but you're really not allowed to go low on a player as the defensive end was still standing up. He clipped him with his leg and he whipped him here. Good leadership here by Vernon Adams.
Well, that was the play before. Yeah. And Vernon Adams trying to settle down Coker, and then he gets flagged for the leg whip. Pushes him all the way back to a 2nd and 17 inside their 40. Adams escapes the pocket. Finally eludes Jake Thomas. Finally gets rid of it. And no, it falls well shy of the intended receiver, Dominic Rhymes. The Bomber was closest to it. Falls incomplete. Another flag is out.
Again, 2nd and extra. Vernon almost threw a pick early in the first half.
Illegal contact, Winnipeg, number 1. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll repeat 2nd down.
So a good break for Calgary. Dedrick Nichols, the veteran defensive back, is flagged for that one in the 2nd down. Well, they'll move up a little bit more. Still a 2nd and long.
Looks like it's Terrell Bonds who's going to get this. Okay. Yeah, we'll take a look. Run this, guys. We'll take a look. No, it's Dedrick Nichols. Impedes as the D-Bay receiver, as the receiver's trying to make his move inside. Dedrick Nichols is there and impedes him to get the penalty.
2nd and 7 now. Adams, it is complete. It is Jalen Philpott. It's across midfield, and it is very close to, yes, indeed, it is a first down as this drive will continue for the Stampeders.
It's really great to see the relationship. Vernon Adams, Jalen Philpott, the most 2nd down conversions on the season for the Calgary Stampeders on passes that they're throwing to. Love to see this relationship. I know Jalen Philpott talked about a free agency. I wanted to make sure who the quarterback was going to be in the building. When I heard it was Vernon Adams, I'm re-signing here. Great relationship building between these two guys.
3 catches, 37 yards, 1st and 10 from the Winnipeg 53. Off the fake, throwing quickly, and caught by Rhymes. So using his receivers well is Vernon Adams Jr. as he gets Calgary down to the Winnipeg 40, and another Stampeder first down.
Once again, his ability to stomach the ball, pull it out, throw it on the outside to Dominic Rhymes. As teams trying to stop the run. Just the speed of his ability to get the ball out of his hand and process makes it really difficult. That's what you always want. Pat Delmonico, offense coordinator. You're always trying to get first downs on first downs. Calling a good drive here.
3 catches for 46 yards for Rhymes. Another first down, Calgary. Stamps moving, pump fake, trying to escape, spinning around, and this chucking it deep. Wide open! Moose alert! Number 2 on the night for the rookie Damian Alford. The Antlers come out again, and the crowd gets quiet in Winnipeg. And what a play by Vernon Adams to make that happen, too. To get it down to his star rookie receiver.
Not sure what Marquise Bridges was seeing here, but Alford recognizing his quarterback's on the move. I'm going to scramble, keep going, goes downfield. Vernon trusts it, throws it up. Marquise Bridges kind of stops his feet, lets him get behind him.
Another touchdown toss for Vernon Adams Jr. 9 plays, 89 yards in just over 5 minutes. The point after from Rene Paredes. Damian Alford, taken first overall in the 2025 CFL draft, now has 5 touchdowns, 2 on the night. Calgary adds to its lead.
Damian Alford, 2 catches, 79 yards, both for touchdowns. Explosive plays. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to have, looks like 2 hitches. Those are your short throws. This is the double move play that Vernon can look at. It's an out and up the sideline. As Vernon climbs and starts escaping, he doesn't forget about the deep throw. Looks like Bridges is not sure whether the ball's thrown or not. He stops. Damian Alford keeps going. One thing when your quarterback scrambles, you're always talking to him. If you break the pocket, find the deepest throw on the field. If you don't have anybody in front of you from a defensive line position, find the deepest guy and see if you can get that shot to him.
And bear in mind, this happened after it looked like Winnipeg was going to head to the end zone. Oh, and the coverage there. Kelon Thomas coming in hard on Trey Favell. Remains down. Brady Oliveira heading back on. Bombers down 11. They got some work to do. Bombers need some offense now, down 11. Need more Brady Oliveira, Luke Wilson.
Yeah, Rod, you said it. They're down 11 right now. You've got your backup quarterback in. He just threw a tough interception on the goal line. The key is to get the ball in your best player's hands, and that guy's Brady Oliveira. And look what they did last drive. Little draw action, gets up the field, gets some yards, got him 3rd and short. Tough yards. Even here, could have been a TFL. He fights for a few extra. I was shocked by this catch. Catches it off the shoestring, makes the guy miss, gets to the 3rd and short, and they convert that. So again, right now, to settle Strebler back in, get the ball in Brady O's hands, let him go to work.
Hey, Luke, you're right. They moved the ball well last time. They just didn't get the touchdown to show for it. It was intercepted. That's Carrick Wheatfall on the reception, and then Damon Webb is in there, and so too is Sheldon Arnold to push him back. But yeah, the Bombers just didn't have anything to show for what looked like a productive drive with Oliveira doing a lot of the work there.
Yeah, and more to talk about what Luke was talking about. Yeah, you have a great player. You want to get him the ball. You saw right here that Streva threw the ball outside on the perimeter. You have to be cautious of how many of these RPOs you have, because sometimes they can force you not to hand the ball to your best player. So you got to make sure you have some runs that I always call it and haul it. No matter what the picture is, you can hand the ball off to my guy.
2nd and 6 now. Strebler chase down, put down. Jalen Hutchings picks up the sack for the Stampeders. There was a lot of heat up front. Luke talked about that earlier, what they're doing, and that is the 4th sack of the season for Jalen Hutchings.
Short drop here by the quarterback, a little bit of a play action pass. You'll see the nose guard, Jalen Hutchings, just beats the down block of Pat Neufeld across his face. Doesn't give Strebler any time, causes the sack. So another good 2 and out by this Calgary defense.
And that's after Calgary's offense had scored the touchdown. Another one to Damian Alford. So they're going to get the ball back. Jamison Sheehan standing at the 10. It's Kalen Horton, the returner for Calgary, to take this punt by the Aussie Sheehan. Right at the 38. Horton across the 45. And then he's met and he's sent back the other way rather quickly on that special teams tackle by the long snapper Ian LaRue. One of the beloved figures in Winnipeg sports history, Milt Stegall. It is fitting and heartwarming that he makes his return to our panel when the panel is in Winnipeg. Consider what he did as a member of the Bombers. They named a street after him at the end of his playing days by the old stadium, and yeah, the CFL records. Well, he knew the way. 15,000, more than that. Career receiving yards. At the time he retired, he was #1. And yeah, the touchdown king as well. The guy beside me, Paul Lapalese, can relate to that, especially the 23 he had, the record that still stands back in 02.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be his offensive coordinator that season and call plays for him. And it just, every time you saw him, he always knew what the coverage was, how to get open, when they blitzed. So there was a certain way I wanted to do things as a new coordinator. I got around him and I kept saying, well, Milt, I told you to do it this way. And then after a while, I'm like, Milt, do it your way. Like, I'll adjust what I do, because he was so intelligent. You want quarterbacks that are smart, but you want wide receivers who are smart. If you have a very intelligent wide receiver, he can make the quarterback's job a lot easier. He's a spectacular player, one of the best in the history of the game.
And just a wonderful standing O in tribute to Milt Stegall before this game. Great to see him back. Calgary has the lead, and with the football up in midfield and lunging across is Dedrick Mills. Impressive the way the Stampeders have been grinding it away. 24-13, they lead it to start the fourth quarter, and I mentioned that tribute.
Please show your support and help us welcome back and welcome home Milt Stegall.
No words necessary. Here's Calgary dumping it off. It's Mills with it from Adams, and he breaks tackles. Dedrick Mills gets it down inside the 40, and yeah, no words before necessary. And as I said, just heartwarming to see the fan reaction here to one of their best ever. But here come the Stampeders again. Lapo.
A lot of misdirection here. Fake to Alfred. Put the back in the flat. Put Bridges in a difficult position where he's got to make the tackle. Such lower body strength by Dedrick Mills is able to break it for a first down. A lot of different, what you call eye candy for the defensive backs, the linebackers. I'm trying to show a speed sweep. I'm trying to show a reverse. And then you still get it to your tailback.
Calgary beat Winnipeg 2 weeks ago by 21 at McMahon Stadium. Out to prove that was no fluke. The Bombers' only loss, and they're down by 11 now. On the ground and putting his head down. And that is Choquette. That is Ludwig Choquette from Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, Quebec.
Draft pick last season out of Long Island University. First-year player. Was very good at the combine. Did a lot of good things. I thought he was an impressive football player. He's been able to get some reps on this football team this season.
Just his third carry of his young CFL career. Had 2 carries for 20 yards coming in. Just a couple there. It's a 2nd and 8. Winnipeg 37. Adams complete. Open is Tevin Jones underneath, and he spins, and he may just have enough for another Stampeder first down, and then everyone's throwing flags. Yellow laundry all over the field after this play was blown dead.
Tevin Jones, if you look, he's going to be the underneath player. So as everybody lifts with the deeper routes, he's just going to sit underneath in the zone. As everybody lifts, get him underneath to him. Good yardage for the first down. And obviously, when you're not allowed to hit any player. Willie Jefferson's trying to make the tackle here, but he leads with his head. Head-to-head contact is going to be flagged. And Vernon trying to catch the flag.
Lets it go through for 2. But
Spearing, Winnipeg, number 5. 15-yard penalty, first down.
No question there for Willie Jefferson.
Spearing's leading with your head. So you try to get your head out of the way when you're going to make the hit. So 15-yard penalties put just inside the 15-yard.
Just inside in a first down and 10. The Stampeders taking charge of this football game here in the second half. was different 2 weeks ago. They just burst into an early lead. Touchdowns on offense and big plays, and on defense with a pick six as well. But this time, grinding their way ahead, threatening again. Vernon Adams, 11-point lead, back to Mills, 15, and just a couple of yards there. James Vaughters among those in on the tackle on Dedrick Mills. Second down coming up.
The best in the Canadian Football League, holding you out of the end zone, 36%. So red zone TDs against. Good stop there on the run play. You knew a run play was going to happen. They brought a blitz, handle the run, force a second and long play here.
Big test for Jordan Younger's defense at the Winnipeg 12. Another 2nd and 8 here for Calgary. Crowd picking up again on Vernon Adams. Pressure coming, gets rid of it. Into the end zone. No, intended for Rhymes. A flag comes out.
Once again, Vernon running away from the free rusher. There's a blitzer off the edge, throws it to the middle of the field. Throw to your big receiver in the middle of the field versus blitz. That's what they used to do to Milt Stegall to get his 23-yard touchdown.
Winnipeg, number 31. Spot of the foul, automatic first down.
But even when it goes wrong for Calgary, it goes right. They're down in a 1st and goal at the 3.
And obviously a killer when you get this penalty inside the goal line. Winnipeg wanted to pressure. They wanted to speed things up. Holm gets the penalty in the end zone, which is going to lead to a touchdown 90% of the time. Again, he's got all that field. He's got to be inside and outside. Just that right hand. There's pretty good coverage there. Whether there's a tug on that right hand they can see. Not much.
Threatening the end zone again. Quick throw. There it is. Dominic Rhymes gets his touchdown. One play later. Stampeders in the end zone again as the boos rain down now. Frustrated by what Calgary has been doing to their Bombers tonight. The first touchdown for Dominic Rhymes as a Calgary Stampeder.
Great veteran quarterbacks see when defenses are out of position. You have 2 receivers line up to the right. You have only 1 football player to the right with Evan Holm has to split the difference. Vernon recognizes it immediately, throws it all the way outside for the touchdown. So great recognition, hey, that the Bombers are misaligned. I'm just going to take the ball, throw it outside.
Point after Paredes. And now it is Vernon Adams and the Calgary Stampeders looking to improve to 5-1. Liking their chances a lot more now. Yeah, Stampeders and a celebration for another touchdown.
Formation, but you have 2 receivers there. That's the first thing you teach your quarterbacks. Hey, take a look on the outside. Make sure everybody's covered down. When they're not, just pick the ball up and throw it outside. Eat the easiest touchdown you can get. So good vision by Vernon Adams seeing the picture.
As Paredes will get set to kick it off. Vernon Adams 16-24 now. 268, 3 touchdown passes and 1 intercepted, and it's a 31-13 lead. Winnipeg football. Cody Case on the returns with the injury to Trey Babel, and it's Case getting it up across the 45. Well, what a job tonight for the Calgary defense. There's their coordinator, Bob Slowick, who is quite a sports family, Britt Dort.
Yeah, you could say the love of the game runs deep in his family. Of his 3 sons, all 3 work in football operations in the NFL. His oldest son, Ryan, with the Miami Dolphins as a DB's coach. His middle son, Bobby, also with the Miami Dolphins. He's more as a passing game coordinator, though. Their youngest, Steve, works for the 49ers as a pro scout. But perhaps I got to give the biggest nod to his wife and, of course, the mother of all those boys. She's a famous known hurdler from her time in her college career. She was actually ranked 2nd worldwide in the 50-meter, guys, and she held world records in the 60-meter. Very impressive.
Impressive indeed, Brett, and coached as well, track and field coach. And he had said, I think the best coach in the family might be Carol. That's quite a family, the Slowicks, and he's got to love what this defense has been doing this year. Calgary Stampeders picked off quickly, touchdown. Damon Webb, who does it again. 2nd straight game against Winnipeg. But Damon Webb has himself a pick 6. And the onslaught just continues.
Film study is what gets this done. Damon Webb recognizes the formation is going to be, hey, a quick screen on the outside, and he just guesses and says, I'm going to go take it. You can see him at the left of our screen. He's just going to run downhill, and I'm going to go right in front of where the screen is and get the pick. That's great film study by Damon Webb. Another interception for a touchdown for him. He's got 2 in 2 games versus the Bombers. Ohio State product, came over this year from the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Started in Saskatchewan, went to Ottawa, first year in Calgary, point after Paredes and Webb. One of those veterans they brought in and just wholesale changes to that Calgary defense. Webb, Derek Moncrief, Flo Imolade, but Webb, well, it was early in the game at McMahon against Winnipeg that really got it started. This one's in the 4th quarter. Going to put this game on ice. Not just an interception machine, a pick-6 machine. A couple of weeks ago, late first quarter, Damon Webb steps in front of that one. Zach Collaros takes it in for a touchdown. And he's done this a couple of times before, back in his Ottawa Red Blacks days, Lapo.
Yeah, if you don't remember, he had 2 interceptions for touchdowns against Chad Kelly and a big win for Ottawa over the Argonauts last season. So he continues to add to that. There's the old spider web symbol for Damon Webb, one of the great seasons so far in the Canadian Football League at a defensive back position.
Damon Webb, 5th year out of Ohio State, and that's his 3rd interception. He set 2. All 3 going for touchdowns too. Cody Case on the return. Big hole Bombers now. Case gets it up across the 45 at 38-13, a 25-point lead. Calgary 2 weeks ago beating the Bombers by 21. So a lot of work for Strempler to do now. As discussed earlier, they proved they could move the ball, but you look back now, Lapo, another interception. Not for a touchdown, but that one by Adrian Green that saved a touchdown looms so incredibly large now as well.
Started 3rd quarter, the Bombers defense holds Calgary to 2 and out. And then the Bombers drive the length of the field, but that critical error, the interception, takes points off the board.
Down a lot, but Brady Oliveira's running and picking up a lot of yards too. Gets it all the way to the 45 of the Stampeders, and a big first down for Winnipeg, and they got to start watching that clock and racking up points in a hurry.
Yeah, they're they want to get rhythm. They only have 1 touchdown. They need more, so they do have to start getting plays. You can still huddling, even though they're down a lot, because I think they just need rhythm for that first touchdown before they start doing their no huddle stuff.
The fake at the 46 and the throw by Strevler, completing it to Carrick Wheatfall down around the 40. A 2nd and short coming up here. The turnover battle has been great for Calgary this season, and certainly on this night. 4-1, they have the edge, and those 3 interceptions, especially 2 for a touchdown for Calgary and 1 denying a touchdown by that man Adrian Green.
And ask Bob Slowick about that. How did you flip from the worst worst takeaway team to the best? Talked about his coaching staff. Has done a really good job coaching up, making sure they take the football away, they work it. Usually in football, Rod, you get what you practice, you get what you emphasize. They've been emphasizing taking the football away in Calgary. So Baron Miles there. You see defensive back coach. And yeah, Slowick had an interesting point. He talked about you're going to have a long NFL career. How have you liked the CFL? I love the players. I love that we play a lot of football games. And he's praised the coaching staffs in the Canadian Football League. How good they were and how good things happened.
Well, Strevler keeps to get the first down, but overall, what a great job by, an elite defense right now. Bob Slowick's Calgary Stampeder defense. You look at that, allowing 1 TD or less since 2006. Well, that's 5 games from the start of the season. It's been remarkable so far for Calgary. The Bombers only 1 TD so far. That was Nick Dembski. 13 points on the board. A couple of field goals by Sergio Castillo. Trying to get back to the end zone, and that's not going to help. Lost yardage that time for Oliveira on that first down. So a 2nd and about 12, and that 2-yard loss for Winnipeg.
Calgary can just continue to do a little bit of pressure on first down, because they're going to try to help. They're going to try to help create long yardage situations. So they know there's going to be some runs on first down by Streveler. So pressure off the edge, get a tackle for a loss, make it 2nd and 12. Now just let the front four rush the passer.
Well, Mike O'Shea's had quite a run against the Stampeders here in Winnipeg. They haven't lost to Calgary in this stadium since 2017, 8 straight games. Pressure. Streveler's hit as he gets rid of it. It heads out of bounds. Intended for Cody Case. They were getting some heat on him, and it's a 3rd down and 12, and he's got to stay out.
Little miscommunication here. You never want to have a free player here. The line goes, 2 people go out. Nobody takes the A-gap rusher. That's not Chris Streveler's fault. They just got to get on the same page. You can't give up the A-gap rusher if they both slide out to a free player. Create a free player in the inside.
3-down football now with them down so much, 25 points, 3rd and 12. They got to go. At the 33 of the Stampeders, Streveler trying to draw him off, and looks like he does. That's Kyle Wilson, new Stampeder linebacker, coming over from the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Offside, Calgary, number 31. 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
So still a 3rd and long, but they do move it up to now a 3rd and about 7 or 8 yards coming up here for O'Shea's Bombers. Third and 7. Streveler came on in the first half after the injury to Zach Collaros. Just a 3-man rush. He has time, and it looked like he had the completion to Stearns, but coming in was Arnold. Sheldon Arnold timed that up, knocked it away, and incomplete, and a turnover on downs. Another turnover committed by Winnipeg. Calgary leading by a ton, 4th quarter here in Winnipeg. And the Lions, who look so good in Edmonton, controlling the time of possession and a dominant win over the Elks. And the Riders saw what the Stampeders are all about last week in that delayed game. Lost their first of the season, so both teams came in. The Stanson Riders at 4-1 this week, but Calgary poised to improve to 5-1. So and then over to you, Saskatchewan. Tough one at BC Place against Rourke and Company coming out tomorrow on TSN. Calgary takes over on downs, leading by 25 from their 28. Now we got some movement right at the line of scrimmage. Flags come out with a snap of the ball.
I think what's impressive about this football game is Stampeders lead.
Calgary, number 54. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
The team that's leading the Canadian Football League in rushing. We don't have to rush. They only got 70 yards right now. They're not rushing for a lot of yards. What do they got? They got 3 explosive pass plays. 30-plus yards. All 3 of those led to touchdowns. They're taking a defense that's very good against stopping the pass. Completing 2nd down conversions almost at a 70% here.
So 1st and 15. Handing off to Dedrick Mills. Reddick Crampty in there. Jamal Parker as well as they haul him down as he picks up a couple. Still a 2nd and long ahead, but comfortably ahead. Adams and the Stampeders.
Key for this offense is just continue. They just got to continue, keep working and growing and developing. Dave Dickinson gave up play calling it to Pat Delmonico, offensive coordinator. He talked about, he's like, I'm free to do a little bit more throughout the course of the game, Rod. I can still give opinions on, hey, maybe this should be called, but he's able to free up, talk to players, as well as do more situational football.
It's Choquette, Ludwig Choquette, the rookie, drafted this year. Good carry, his 2nd one of the night, 4th of his CFL career now as he gets that one up closer to the 40.
I had asked Dave, I'm like, are you okay not calling it? How you feeling, everything? Not calling the game as a former play caller? He's like, no, I've enjoyed the process. We still meet and talk about how you game plan and things, but on game day, I can bite in if I want to say, hey, maybe we run this, maybe we run that, but normally I'm just kind of listening and observing. And the one thing is, he talked about earlier in the year, is Pat Delmonico is a former offensive line coach.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 times I had to say, hey, no, run the ball, right? You would think it's the other way around, but
Choquette instead of Mills. Choquette, the running back, he gets it over the 40 on that first down play. But yeah, lots of explosive plays.
So this is a flashback to me in 2019, and we talked about explosive football plays and how important it was. So this is a poster in our meeting room. There's Daniel Peterman, former, and you see that when you look at these stats right here, when you have a big play in a drive, you have 5 times more likely to score. That's why it's so important with this 2-down football, long fields, that you got to get explosive plays. We talked about it tonight. 3 explosives for Calgary Stampeders, 3 touchdowns, all on those drives for the win.
Including a couple of touchdowns for the rookie, Damian Alford. Running the ball, Choquette again. Well, he had a bit until he met a wall named Kyrie Wilson, who pushed him back, and a 3rd down is coming up here for Calgary.
And as you try to go figure that,
Winnipeg.
As a play caller, you're like, well, what do you do? How do you change that? How do you create more big plays? You kind of did what Calgary did. They had a couple underneath throws with a deep play downfield, and Vernon can turn on or turn off based on the picture of the defense. And you got to have a quarterback you trust. And the thing you always talk to the quarterbacks, just because I've called a double move or a deep play doesn't mean you throw it. Look at the picture. If the picture's there, throw it. You can see Pat Delmonico, offensive coordinator, play caller, getting a congratulations, Pat from VA. Really good relationship building here in Calgary for VA.
There's Cody Case back for the punt from Mark Bassett. Big play VA. It's a nickname he'd earned early in his days in the CFL, and certainly in keeping with that tonight. That one takes a bounce out of bounds, and they'll take over. Winnipeg does, but you know, remember the start he had Lapo before Nathan Rourke came back, actually before he got hurt.
Yes.
Vernon Adams had a terrific start with the BC Lions a year ago.
He would have been the favorite at that point for the most outstanding player, and you can make that conversation after tonight's game.
Well, I was going to say,
be in the conversation, a strong conversation, probably around with Nathan Rourke.
Yeah, I believe they had a 6-1 start.
And Levi Mitchell had a great year.
The year Bo's having too. There's a lot of great starts for the Stampeders. They're hitting the 1/3 position in the CFL season. This is game 6 for them of 18, and they are just about to improve to a record of 5-1 and first in the West and the entire CFL standings, for that matter. He's a guy who's enjoying being a part of it. And Damian Alford, Winnipeg 37 now in a 2nd and 3. It falls before Kevin's Claricius, and that one is incomplete, and the warning is given. But a lot of the damage has been done already by the Calgary Stamp. Let's go back to Luke Wilson on the sideline. Hey, Luke, we've been talking a lot, singing the praises, not only the Stamps offense, that defense and the job it's done tonight.
Yeah, this defense is really stout at all 3 levels, Rod. What I thought, you know, we started early. They got a lot of pressure. We mentioned this with just the defensive line, 4 guys getting after it. And the same thing continued with Strebler. They got their sacks. And the turnovers are a huge ordeal. When you have a great offense on the other side of the ball, and you're not only stopping Winnipeg, but you're also scoring points and pick sixes, there's no way you're going to win. This is how the blowouts happen. And Lapo, you mentioned this earlier. I believe you said it's 16-2 if you win the turnover margin. It's about to be 17-2 because they've certainly won the turnover margin tonight.
Well, they sure have. And that was a 3rd down play as well, Luke. As they've turned it over so many times,
and they already led Luke. They led the CFL, and they're tied for first in takeaways to begin this night, and they get a bunch more tonight. So
yeah,
really good
I can see why that is. Again, when you get that pressure with just 4 rushers, you can let your linebackers and DBs sit and drive routes. So again, I really got to tip my cap. I said they've been stout at all 3 levels, but to me, this defensive line has just been the star of the game for the Calgary Stampeders.
One of the things more difficult in this league nowadays, Luke, there is a lot less man coverage and a lot more zone coverage, so you can watch what's happening from the quarterback position, and like you said, drive on the football.
Hey, Luke, tell me about your travel day today. I know Kate was joking about your suit.
Yeah, it was a bit tough. We we ended up having to change flights in the middle of the day. I, unfortunately, am the guy who likes to check a bag.
Was that your plane there?
That's the plane you took,
plane there?
That's right. So I showed up with basically shorts and a T-shirt. We had to get a suit in Winnipeg. I was stopped at Shoppers. I've got a toothbrush. We're making it work. We're making it work right now, boys.
Adapt, improvise, and overcome.
Yeah. I say that, just whip into town and get a suit. Looking pretty sharp there, my friend.
You know, Rod, I got to give a shout out to Claire Hanna. A couple weeks ago, she said, we're going to find out soon if you're an outdoor cat. I'm a studio guy. I like to sit at Jay's desk and chop it up. I think I know what Claire Hanna was talking about now.
Indoor, outdoor cat, doesn't matter. And
no question.
Adjusting on the fly, well done. And getting all suited up for this one tonight. It's P.J. Walker in at quarterback, who was a star at Temple. In fact, all-time passing leader in the history of the Temple Owls, passing our friend Henry Burris, #1 in that department, and getting some reps now at this point in time with his Stampeders up. Big day over for Vernon Adams and a much-deserved rest. Standing off, Choquette, who's in there. They're already down in scoring range again here in the Winnipeg zone.
PJ had a great career in college, as you just said. Bounced around the NFL for a number of years. Did a stint with the Houston in the XFL with the Roughnecks. Was one of the best passers in that league. That led to a couple more NFL opportunities. I know the Stampeders organization like him a lot as a good young quarterback, not young quarterback process, but a new young guy to the Canadian Football League.
Wonder how Hank felt about his records being broken in college. And talk about Calgary Stampeder quarterbacks. You know, before you, Bully Von Mitchell, before that, Henry Burris, long line of great QBs with the Stampeders, and a great kicker in Rene Paredes, who just adds. There's another guy who's a great quarterback with the Stampeders, their head coach Dave Dickinson, who must like what he sees tonight. Will declare the Stampeders the victors to go on top of not only the West standings with the entire CFL. This is a team that finished dead last in not only the West but the entire CFL a year ago. Lapo.
They matched their win total of tonight, and they with most of the season left. So there's a point about last season. Dave Dickinson talked in the offseason. There was a lot of people talking about the Calgary Stampeders. What's wrong with the Stampeders? I didn't like this. There was a lot of people pointing fingers at Dave and other things. They made changes, things they didn't like. One, the organization listened to the players on some. They got a bad report card on some things. The organization tried their best to fix it. But Dave had a great point in the offseason. He said, listen, when you don't win, nobody's happy. No. So everybody's complaining. Everybody's basing blame. We just got to put our head down, go to work. We listened to the players. He praised Jay McNeil and the organization for making some changes to help things for their players. And they just started a new season, and it's paid off very well.
I was talking to the guys in the panel before this game. Have you ever seen a team change so much and get this good so quickly?
Yeah.
Not a common thing.
I guess the thing that first of all helps is they got a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes
part of the change too.
Yeah, like sometimes that just doesn't happen to you, that all of a sudden a franchise quarterback comes available and you're able to bring him into your organization. And then the big thing for me is how different this team looks defensively.
Yeah. And where it's almost entirely new, including some experienced guys they brought in. As
you started this season, you would have said, who are the best teams in the league? You always start with who are the best defenses in the league. So coming into last season, you talked Montreal, Saskatchewan, and Winnipeg were the top defenses. So that's where you start. Who are the best teams? How this is happening? Calgary's done a great job. And if you watch this, watch how excited he is on this play. Palms up in a little bit.
Yeah.
Asking the officials for a call.
You're going to get your helmet on at least. The Winnipeg 37, first down and counting down under 2 minutes to go. That's complete to Dembski. Wow, things could have been different, couldn't it, for Winnipeg early on. Dembski had a big catch from Zach Collaros, 75 yards. He had over 100 yards receiving in the first half. Collaros ended up getting hurt. That drive was snuffed out by an interception shortly after, but Dembski later scored a touchdown. And things weren't looking that bad for Winnipeg in a close game, but Stampeders in the second half just took off. Carrick Wheatfall on that catch
for Winnipeg, they've got to find a way to incorporate. They've got to make sure they can get Brady Oliveira on track. They've got to make sure they can get easy plays for Strevler to operate. And they just got to continue to grow defensively. They're giving up a lot more points than they have in the last 2 years defensively.
You look at these two head coaches. You saw Mike O'Shea there and Dave Dickinson before, the longest current tenured coaches in the CFL. Strevler throws and gets it to Oliveira down inside the 30. But you know, O'Shea started with this team in 2014. They won a couple of Grey Cups. They've been to 5 straight. And the team in the West before his Bombers was Dickinson's Calgary Stampeders, who went to the Grey Cup the 3 previous years, winning it in 2018. And they went 4 times in 5 years, went to the Cup. Edmonton's the only other team in the West that's been to the Cup in over the last decade. But for Dickinson, it was back in his 2nd year as head coach of this team when they won in Winnipeg and hasn't won since. 8 straight losses. About to see that streak come to an end tonight.
And interesting, after that 8 straight losses, before those 8 straight losses, they had 8 straight wins over Winnipeg.
Right.
So they were the team to beat. They had great defense. They had Bo Levi Mitchell. They had a very good football team. And that's the last win, 2017. I wasn't a happy guy.
I was going to say.
I was like, what's going on? What happened in this game?
You were the offensive.
Who was calling the plays on offense?
Yeah.
It was probably terrible. My God.
Oh, my friend, you had a very good run, both as head coach of this team in Winnipeg before Mike O'Shea going to the Grey Cup back in 2011, but winning the Cup in 2019. And there's John Huffnagel.
But I can remember, Rod, in those days, like, this was the team. The Calgary Stampeders did everything well. They won games early in the season. They won situational football. And that was, everyone's trying to chase what Calgary would do. And it is so hard in the Canadian Football League to try to go to the playoffs when you don't have first place. If you get that first place, one game with the bye, Calgary seems to be at the top all the time.
Message there. 6-year-old boy, Vernon Adams. End zone look, Strevler, and a touchdown for Cody Case. As mentioned, Case back in his first year as a freshman at South Dakota got 5 touchdown passes, a school record for touchdown receptions, and his quarterback, who was in his senior year, was Chris Strevler. They connect again.
Yes, 2000. Yeah, Strevler was a senior. He was a freshman. Asked him about that today. He said, "Oh, a talented, athletic, fast guy." A little bit of miscommunication you can see right there. 2 players in man coverage, both cover the underneath route. That's why guys get open. So sometimes they miscommunicate when they're in man coverage. Leaves the deep one open. You never want to leave the deep one open, right? You want to throw the underneath one, right? Both guys cover the deep one. But nice catch by Cody Case, adjusting to the football a little bit far inside.
Got in 3 games last year. This is first taste of action with the injury to Dalton Schoen in 2025. And there's another thing we can say for the first time since 2017. Strevler to Case and a touchdown.
Strevler in 2017, that season actually finished number 2 for their Walter Payton Award, which is the Division I AA Heisman Trophy.
South Dakota Coyotes.
South Dakota Coyotes. A little bit of conversation. So usually what happens when you're going tempo like this and you're going fast and playing fast, the 2 defensive backs here, they're not sure who they're covering. They miscommunicate. See it right there. That's what happens. You got to be on task. I know it's late in the game, but I'm sure Coach Sloak will be talking about the guys. Hey, when they're playing fast on offense, we got to be faster with our communication on defense. Gives up the touchdown.
He hung on there, did get the grab for Case in his 2nd year. He actually finished his college career at Western Illinois after some years at South Dakota, where Chris Strevler was a star, as you mentioned. And the Bombers, though, despite that touchdown, will have to regroup. And they've already had 2 byes the way the scheduling worked off. They had the bye in week 1. They had the bye last week as well. They're in Toronto next week to face an Argo team that can certainly stand a victory after another loss by the narrowest of margins against the Alouettes in Montreal last night. Winnipeg kicks off. Calgary still comfortable, 41-20. 21-point lead. 2 weeks ago, Stampeders won by 21. P.J. Walker coming on. And for Winnipeg, he started with a couple of games against the Lions, then Edmonton. Eastern team, and that'll change next week, as mentioned, against the Argos in Toronto.
I will say this for Calgary. You talk about how do we get to the first? How do we get in the conversation? People talk about, hey, are they for real? Well, they beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yes.
In Saskatchewan. They've beaten the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who've won the West 5 years in a row. So they are beating the best teams in the last couple of years, and they're starting to say, hey, we're in the conversation. We are the best team in the West.
There's a big run by Shotcat. Still going as Evan Holm helps wrestle him down after he works his way up across the 45, making the most of his opportunities. They rest Dedrick Mills. But yeah, the only blemish on the Stampeders record was the Ottawa Red Blacks back in week 3. That's Ottawa's one victory.
Shotcat's a little smaller football player, but you can see what you like about him, his balance and his quickness, how he cuts across the grain right there, right behind his offensive lineman on their double team. Good young future for that football player.
Victory formation, and what a victory it is for the Calgary Stampeders. Applause all around Vernon Adams. Another nice night for him. Another nice start to this season as they're about to go to 5-1.
And I really like Dave Dickinson's what they're doing as a football team. You heard the panel talk about it earlier at the start of the game. His team leads the CFL in rushing. So, well, they didn't rush. At the end of the game, they got some rushing yards, but most of the game, they're putting the ball in the air to the receivers. They got some big targets that they want to throw to. And Damian Alford looks like a great add to this football team. I'm going to give you another name. Does get enough credit. Chris Fortin, fourth start. This a formidable team to play against the Calgary Stampeders.
2 weeks ago, they won by 21. Tonight, they win by 21. The Calgary Stampeders, dead last in the CFL standings last year. And on a night when we got to honor Milt Stegall, the Stampeders, through 1/3 of the season, are on top of the CFL standings. They came in and proved it was no fluke at all against a Bomber team that rarely loses at home. Some credit, and the Antlers out for Moose Alford, the rookie, with a couple of touchdowns. Thanks for watching Friday Night Football. SportsCenter's next with Laura Dykin and Adam Scully. Good night, everybody.